Nobody does it, Bennett. Yes, I've gone and said it. Movies and games, some things that are lame. Nobody does it, Bennett.
Good evening and welcome. There are some superb movies ahead on Movie Review Universe. Next time, we'll join Ray Liotta. Since as far back as he can remember, he's always wanted to be a gangster in the 1990 movie Goodfellas. Right now though, it's time for the Lost World Jurassic Park. Hello, and welcome to Nobody Does It Bennett, Movie Review Universe, otherwise known as the MRU. I am your host, The Greg Bennett Experience, and tonight I'm joined by Matt as we complete the Jurassic Park trilogy with the Lost World Jurassic Park from 1997. Matt, how are you today?
I'm great. It's very warm.
Hi there, how are you today?
How are you today? I'm not good.
Matt, how are you today?
I am good. Doing well.
Good to hear.
It's very warm outside and I'm glad to be inside.
It's very warm outside for us anyway. Glad to see you here to finish off the J Park trilogy. What we'll do in tonight's show is run through the Lost World Jurassic Park, giving you our thoughts and opinions along the way, as well as acting out certain scenes with their own unique voices. We will then give you our ratings for the Lost World. Where will it place on the MRU charts? Stay tuned to find out. First off though, Matt, what is your history with the Lost World Jurassic Park? When did you first see it?
I think it was a Saturday Colgate feature, as a lot of them actually were. I remember it just starting. I'm pretty sure it was actually halfway through at this point. I remember watching it as a kid. It was halfway through, and it was when the guy was getting attacked by the snake under the waterfall.
No, yeah, that's towards the end actually. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Oh, it was too. Yeah, it was too, and they were getting chased. I remember that scene vividly, and just being like, "What is this?"
I remember seeing Lost World Jurassic Park in cinemas when I was a young tween. So excited after Jurassic Park. I'll say this without giving away too much of my ratings for later, but this is a very different film to Jurassic Park. This movie is one of the few sequels Steven Spielberg has ever directed. I think this and the Indies are the only ones I can think of. So yeah, he doesn't do sequels very often. And he wasn't going to do the sequel for Lost World.
Or was he not?
He was going to direct Jurassic Park, and Joe Johnston, who did the third one, was going to direct the second one. But then Spielberg wanted to direct the second one. He's like, I had so much fun with the first one. Let's do it again.
No, that's fair. He's a great director.
Well, it's only one of the best. Spielberg's like, I'm going to direct the second one. I don't think anyone will be like, I don't know, Stephen.
Yeah, well, you know.
Yeah, can you?
Might have to rethink this.
We might get a more established director, I think. If you like what you hear or have any suggestions or thoughts for us, who knows, it might be about the Lost World. Well, you can contact us by going to the Nobody Does It Bennett Facebook page, or by hitting us up on the Twitter at NobodyDIBennett. You can also email us at nobodydoesitbennett@outlook.com, or by going to our website, nobodydoesitbennett.buzzsprout.com. Nobody Does It Bennett is available on Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and other podcast outlets. Nobody Does It Bennett is now also available on YouTube, so don't forget to like and subscribe. Right, Matt, are you ready to go back to Jurassic Park? So I've just done Titanic, so I'm like, are you ready to go back?
Yeah, you ready to go back
to Jurassic Park?
Oh, more than definitely. Open those gates.
Well, tough, as this is a different island.
Is Lasauna?
It's Lasauna.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right, yeah.
Is Lanubla's the first one, isn't it?
Ladies and gentlemen, The Lost World Jurassic Park from 1997.
Nobody does it, Bennett.
Movie starts with the Universal logo. Fun fact, when I went and saw The Lost World at the cinemas as a teen or tween, this was the first time I saw the new computer animated 3D Universal logo. This is one of the first times that you actually see the computer one. Before that, it was just the old...
kind of spins around as the globe. Yeah, that would have looked cool.
Had like the blurry textures of the island. It's like of the globe. But back then, it was like, this is like Toy Story.
Yeah, true.
First one I saw it for. I'm not sure it is the first movie that had it, but it's the first movie I saw.
That's cool.
With that new logo. The movie cinema itself even put in some great effort back then. The theatre back then had like those Jeep cargo nets all across the aisles as you're walking through to the cinema.
That's cool. They would have made it so much more immersive too.
I went in there, it's like, oh, this is like going into Jurassic Park. I was like, I'm so excited. They don't do that anymore so much. Like, if they do, they just have like digital screens that they can change. It's nothing like actually having like the physical stuff there.
That would make it so much better for most movies, even for Marvel movies. If you put like a Captain America shield or like a Thor's hammer up on the wall, like even just that would.
Yeah, all of a sudden you feel like you're walking into another world. Imagine Avatar, everything's just water.
Yeah, just spraying water at you.
There is a shot of the water that pans up to an island. Isla Sorna, 87 miles southwest of Isla Nublar. Title appears, The Lost World, Jurassic Park. Cut to a rich family who are sailing on a nearby yacht. They have decided to have a beachside lunch on the island. Servants are tending to them with champagne and other delights. A little girl grabs a sandwich and starts to walk off. Her mother says not to ruin her appetite as they're having prawns. It's like she's having sandwiches. That is lunch.
Yeah, she's having sandwiches and you want to feed her with prawns that'll literally have this much meat in them.
Yeah.
She's not ruining anything.
Sandwiches are a lunch or a meal.
Yeah, let her have her sandwich. I don't like prawns.
The father tells the mother to leave the girl alone and let her explore the island. No harm ever came from exploring an unknown island, right?
Never.
The mum worries about snakes. The father insists there aren't any snakes on the beach. Don't know how factual that is because there are water snakes.
Yeah, definitely.
The girl goes off and finds a new friend, a tiny little lizard-looking thing that walks on 2 legs. The girl decides to feed it some of her sandwich.
Mummy, Daddy, you've got to come see this. I found something.
The girl turns back to see not one, but many of these tiny little lizards. These lizards are in fact dinosaurs. Compsognathus, I think it is, or Compsognathus?
Yeah,
Very hard to say.
Compies.
Or compies are nasty little things. Yeah, I'm going to say compies from now on because it's hard to say.
No, that's fair.
But it was always going to be compies. I was never going to say that a million times in this podcast.
Yeah, that's true.
The girl is soon surrounded. The girl's mum calls out for her as her lunch is ready. The girl, now worried, gives the compies the rest of her sandwich. But they don't want the sandwich. They want to eat her. The parents and servants hear the screaming. I always laugh how the dad runs off to save the girl. Just the way he takes off looks hilarious. Like his legs move, but not his arms and body.
Tally-ho!
The parents and servants get to the girl, but all you see is the mother's horrified face. Probably too gruesome to see. The girl survives though. Hammond mentions it later on that she survived. This part is actually a bit of a setup for what happens to Dieter later on, as it shows you how dangerous compies can be, as well as, I believe, an interpretation of what happens in the first Jurassic Park book. Now, it's a bit of a warning, this is a spoiler for the book, but also it's very, very gruesome, so for the next 30 seconds, if you don't want to hear something gruesome, just move along. In the book, a nanny walks into a baby's room on a nearby island in Costa Rica. The nanny finds that the baby is dead and half devoured by a group of compies.
Wow.
Yeah.
And the book. Oh, the book sounds so much better.
The book is a horror movie.
Stephen King, it's like Stephen King books compared to movies.
Yeah, it's Michael Crichton who wrote them.
Oh, yeah, Michael Crichton, yeah.
But they are gruesome. They're horror movies.
Ooh.
Pretty chilling and horrifying to read. So yeah, understand why they didn't show the girl here, even if she was just injured. It transitions from the mother's horrifying screaming to Ian Malcolm yawning. Great transition. I love
It's
it.
so good with the train in the background. Well, not the train, just the noise and the screaming in the back. Yeah, it is a train, isn't it?
It's a subway, but you don't know it because it looks like he's on an island.
And he's going...
Because it's got the tropical setting behind him.
And I like that whole transition to that's perfect. And he's just stood there like... Absolutely gorgeous, that. I loved it.
Malcolm gets on the subway. I love how disheveled Ian looks in this. Like in the first movie, he was very suave, very cool. And he has like just, he has a lot of confidence.
And now he's found out a lot more than what his chaos theory...
Yeah, he's not dressing as nice anymore. He's just got standard clothes. He's got a 5 o'clock shadow.
Yeah, I'm wondering if anything happened with his, his notoriety or like his fame from that first island.
It does. It talks about how he's been ruined
Yeah.
because he's been speaking out against what happened on the island, and he's signed a confidentiality, and he's not allowed to, and so they've destroyed his life.
Yeah, they would have.
He got kicked out of his university. No one wants to have anything to do with him because no one believes him.
But they believe Grant. Alan Grant.
A far cry from the slick and cool looking Malcolm from the first film, which is strange as well because you go through this version, it's like, okay, that's a cool kind of evolution for the character. But then a little bit of a spoiler for Jurassic World Dominion. When it goes back to Dominion, he's almost like the Malcolm from the first movie.
Oh, so he's kind of...
He's that, oh, hey, Malcolm, I'm in Malcolm here. Oh, watch out, there's some dinosaurs over there. He's kind of like that again, rather than this movie. This movie, he's much more like Alan Grant.
Maybe he's at that point where he's just kind of worried because he's not sure yet. You know, he's built his life on all this reputation and all this knowledge that he knows, and then it's just kind of go bleh.
I just think they wanted to get the first character back from the first film, so everyone goes, yeah, it's great. Hey, look at me, I'm Malcolm again.
Yeah, true.
Which is kind of cool. Like when I first watched the movie and stuff, I know a lot of people have a lot of grief with it, but I love the nostalgia fact of seeing the characters again.
Yeah, definitely.
But when you look back and I've seen this movie again, you kind of go, ugh, his evolution of character now doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't. It goes up and then back down.
Oh well.
They've just basically given Jeff Goldblum and be like, just be Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, just go back to what you were in the first film and we'll just ignore the rest.
He's like, okay, yeah, travel the world, yeah.
As Malcolm sits, minding his own business, he is recognized by an annoying guy. The annoying guy clicks his fingers in Malcolm's direction, then sits next to him. He's got chewing gum tooth.
And he's just,
You're him, right?
excuse me.
Scientist, the guy, you know. I saw you on TV. I believed you. Annoying guy then makes dinosaur sounds while mimicking Jaws with his arms. What a dick. Ian then sees old ladies giving him the stink eye. They're like, oh, it's that guy that spoke up about dinosaurs. Let's all hate him because he sounded like he had a horrific experience of some sort, but we don't want to believe him, so.
Because we've never seen the proof, so.
Yeah, exactly. Unlike today where people accuse. Cut to a butler in a mansion. He opens the door and lets Malcolm in. Malcolm has been summoned by John Hammond, which is interesting as we all know how much Hammond disliked Malcolm in the first film. I really hate that man. I love when he says that.
And he's so livid when he says it too. He like shakes with frustration. It's like, damn. It's like it's not his fault. You screwed up.
Yeah, so it's weird that he's summoning him now back to him, really. Malcolm is greeted by Lexi and Tim from the first movie.
Big old hugs.
Yeah, just a wee short cameo to remind the audience that they are, in fact, still alive.
A little bit, yeah. It's like, oh, yeah. It's just like, yeah, they didn't die, don't worry. Timmy's fine.
Malcolm also runs into Peter Ludlow. Wow, Dr. Malcolm. Dr. Malcolm. Here to share a few campfire stories with my uncle. Yep, Ludlow is Hammond's nephew.
You can convince the Washington Post and the Skeptical Inquirer of whatever you want, but I was there. I know what happened, and so do you.
Do you actually believe that everyone that shows discretion did so for a nefarious motive? Even Lex and Tim?
Leave them out of it. It's not a game.
No, it isn't. You signed a non-disclosure agreement before you went to the island that expressly forbade you from discussing anything you saw. You violated that agreement.
Yeah, I did, and you lied. You twisted the facts about the deaths of 3 people. And you stuffed misinformation down the public's throat, which made me look like a nut. Hasn't been so good for my livelihood.
We made a generous compensatory offer for your injuries.
A payoff and an insult. When you spin reality, you cover it up with evidence. Why? It hurts. It ruins more than my reputation.
As I recall, your university revoked your tenure for selling wild stories to the press.
I didn't sell anything. I didn't take a cent, and I told the truth.
Your version of it.
There aren't any versions of the truth. And I'll tell you something. InGen can't keep spewing out.
InGen is my responsibility now, Doctor, and I will jealously defend its interests.
Your responsibility? What about Mr. Hammond?
It is our board of directors I must look in the eye, not my uncle. Really, you must trust me. These problems of yours are about to be rendered moot. Rendered moot? Who says that, you know?
Out of all the things he used to say, he's just like,
In a few weeks' time, they'll be long forgotten. Oh, you're right about that.
Yep, you're not wrong.
Ludlow walks past Malcolm, but Malcolm grabs him by the arm.
Not by me.
Careful. This suit costs more than your education.
He's such a dick.
I love when he says education there. He goes,
Yeah, and
education.
he kind of like overpronounces it at him and looks at him up and down like.
It is a good burn, though.
It is. It's a real good burn. Especially from where Malcolm's come from. And it's just like, sorry, who are you? Don't touch my clothes.
It's a good burn, but like it's too good. It's like, oh, it's just making light of someone who has had less opportunities than you, and you are rubbing it in his face.
Yeah, literally. Like you're the nephew of this John Hammond, and you're still a dick.
Well, I find Ludlow in this too is almost what John Hammond would be in the book, because in the book he's not the grandfatherly kind of character in the first movie or in the first book. He's someone who just cares about money and cares about making engine more profitable.
So that's what he should have kind of been in the movie, rather than like dropping and caring for like his niece and nephew and all that.
Well, I like the fact that he's more caring because it means that he was trying to do something for the better. Like, it makes it worse as he was trying to do better, but he made things worse by doing it.
Yeah, because he was so happy at the start of it. He was just like, I want to make this for people, they can have tours and they can come and see these dinosaurs. And everyone was like, it's not going to work.
Yeah, it makes it more heartbreaking that it didn't work because he wasn't just a bad guy. If he's just a bad guy, you'd want him to fail straight away.
Yeah.
Because he's not, you don't want it to fail, but you know it's going to. That's the genius of Jurassic Park. Rather, Ludlow in this, he's very much more a cartoon villain where he's just like, I'm just going to go around and twirl my moustache and make as much money as I can. Who cares if I kill people?
Yeah.
Because he's even talking about how they changed the story about how 3 people died. He doesn't care.
No, it doesn't.
Well, John would be like, what happened was a tragedy, but we needed to make sure that the dinosaurs would be safe.
Yeah.
Cut to Hammond talking to Malcolm. Hammond is bedridden from illness. Not sure if they ever say what he's sick with.
No, they don't.
Maybe he had the same problems with the dinosaurs where he hasn't got those enzymes.
He might do. They just don't grow. Yeah. They just get sicker and sicker.
You were right and I was wrong. There. Did you ever expect to hear me say such a thing? Thank God for Site B.
Site B?
Isla Nublar was just a showroom. Something for the tourists. See you hear that? Tourists? Oh, we know Scottish there. Site B was the factory floor. That was on Isla Sona, 80 miles from Nublar. We bred the animals there and nurtured them for a few months, and then moved them into the park.
Oh, really? I did not know that.
Now, after the accident in the park, Hurricane Clarissa wiped out our factory on Site B. Call it an act of God. We had to evacuate, of course, and the animals were released to mature on their own. Life. We'll find a way, as you once so eloquently put it. And by now we have a complete ecological system on the island, with a dozen species living on their own social groups, without fences, boundaries, or constraining technology. And for 40 years, I've trained it to keep it safe from human interference.
Well, that's right. Hopefully you've kept this island quarantined and contained, but I'm in shock about all of this. I mean, they're still alive. You bred them lysine deficient. Shouldn't they have kicked after 7 days without supplemental enzymes?
Yes, but by God, they're flourishing. That's one of the 1,000 questions I want the team to answer.
Team?
Yes, I've organized an expedition to go in and document them, to make the most spectacular living fossil record the world has ever seen.
Go in and document? What? What do you mean, with people?
Yes, the animals won't know they're there. Very low impact. Strictly observation and documentation. As satellites infrared show the animals are fiercely territorial. The carnivores are isolated in the interior of the island, so the team can stay on the outer rim. Don't worry, I'm not making the same mistakes again.
Like, hearing that is just like, but you just did.
Yeah. Next line that Malcolm says is perfectly what he's saying, right?
No, you're making all new ones.
Exactly. You're not making the same mistakes. You're making brand new ones. Congratulations, John.
Idiot. Like, he's just trying to help. That was the whole, it's that naivety of, John, okay, so there's another island with dinosaurs, no fences this time, and you want to send people in, very few people, on the ground, right? And who are the 4 lunatics you're trying to con into this?
Well, it was difficult to convince them as to what they were going to see in the end. I had to use my checkbook to get them there. But, there's Nick Van Owen, who's a video documentarian. Eddie Carr, who's a field equipment expert. We have a paleontologist. And I was hoping that perhaps you might be the 4th. Why the hell would he think that Jeff Goldblum or Malcolm would be the one he'd want to go back?
Do you want to go back?
You've been speaking up about how dangerous this island was for the last, 2 or 3 years. Do you want to go back onto a new island with no fences?
Alan Grant would go back.
I don't think he would. No, he wouldn't. Because he says in the 3rd one that
they had to force him. They had to try to, and then they knocked him out. That's right.
Yeah, from the guy from church. And he lied about being from church.
That's right, the guy from church just bunk.
And then he got eaten by a dinosaur.
Alan wakes up on the plane and sees the dinosaurs. That's great.
That's just the thing about how delusional John Hammond is. He thinks about what the goal is, but doesn't think about everything that's going to happen outside of that goal.
Yeah, 100%.
Seriously, John, why the hell would Ian Malcolm want to go back to a dinosaur island?
Quick, we need Jeff Goldblum line.
We've been on the verge of Chapter 11 ever since the accident in the park. There are those in the company who want to exploit Site B in order to bail us out. They've been planning it for years, and I've been able to stop them up until now. But a few weeks ago, a British family on a yacht crew stumbled across the island, and the wee girl was injured. Oh, she's fine. Like he says that, she's fine. Don't
Even though
worry
she
about it.
probably lost her eyes, her lips,
The way that the mum was screaming.
fingers, nose, like all
Fingertips.
the extremities to me is just because they're vicious little. You see them when they grab onto what's his,
Later on when they grab his face.
and it's just pulling on his lip. Oh,
Great effects though too.
yeah.
But the board has used the incident to take control of InGen from me. And now it's only a matter of time before this lost world is found and pillaged.
Lost World.
Public opinion is the one thing I can use to preserve it, but in order to rally that kind of support, I need a complete photo record of those animals alive and in their natural habitat.
So, you went from capitalist to naturalist in just 4 years. That's something.
It's our last chance at redemption.
John, no, of course, no. And I'm going to contact the other 3 members of your team, and I'm going to stop them from going. Who's the paleontologist, by the way?
She came to me. I want you to know this.
I love when he says that. He's like worried. He's like, she came to me, though, like, yeah.
He knows what he's going to say, yeah.
Who did?
Leave it to UN to have associations, affiliations, even liaisons with the best people in so many fields.
You didn't contact Sarah?
Paleontological behavior study is a brand new field, and Sarah Harding is on that frontier.
No.
Her theories on parenting and nurturing amongst carnivores have framed the debate. What are you doing?
Where's your phone?
Malcolm picks up a nearby phone. It's too late. She's already there. Sarah said, John, why would you send her alone on the island?
She's already there, that's fine.
The others are meeting her in 3 days.
You sent my girlfriend to this island alone?
Sent is hardly the word. She couldn't be restrained. She was already working in San Diego, doing some research at the animal park.
Oh, because that makes sense. Let's just fly her across into the middle of the ocean and then take her to a dinosaur.
She was in a supervised area in San Diego, but don't worry, now she's on an island of dinosaurs by herself.
Yeah, she was already in San Diego, so just off she goes.
It's not far away at all. I mean, it's only a couple of hours flight from there. And she was adamant, absolutely adamant about making the initial foray by herself. She thinks she's Diane Fossey. Observation without interference, she said. That's a timed reference for you. After you got injured in the park, she sought you out. And then she went all the way to the hospital in Costa Rica to ask somebody who she never even knew whether the rumors were true.
If you want to leave your name on something, fine. But stop putting it on other people's headstones, John.
She'll be fine. She spent years studying African predators. You know, sleeping downwind and all. She knows what she's doing.
Ah, yes, because, well, you know, all the tracks of dinosaurs, especially when a compy killed a little girl, like, you know, like, and then what's next to come is a bit like,
Going by what we've seen in documentaries and stuff, like even cheetahs would nowhere near as fast as like a raptor.
nah, 2 million years worth of evolution.
And a cheetah is
but-
not as smart as a raptor.
Nah, not at all.
A T-Rex could cover the same amount of ground in a couple of steps. Yeah, that doesn't hold water, does it, at all?
Nope, not at all.
No. And believe me, the research team will... Malcolm sticks his hand out to cut Hammond off.
It's not a research expedition anymore. It's a rescue operation, and it's leaving right now.
Du- 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 ba-da-da, ba-da-da-da.
Yeah, just making all the welding and...
Hammond smiles. He has his team. This man just doesn't care about people dying, does he?
He doesn't. He's just like, haha, trust fund, baby. Whee.
He's not as vicious as Ludlow, but yeah, he's just got a naivety that just does not think about people's well-being, more about just
He's very not. It's not simple. It's just a
bigger picture.
Yeah, he's a kid in a park with all the tickets to buy whatever he wants, basically.
Well, like he says in the first movie, it's like his flea circus, you know? It's just an illusion, John.
Yeah.
Cut to Malcolm talking to Eddie about getting ready to head out and save Sarah. You can't shave 3 days off my deadline and expect everything to be ready. I'm not fully supplied. I haven't even field tested any of this.
Why give her a satellite phone if it doesn't work? What's the matter with this?
Could be solar flares, the satellite could be out of sync, or maybe she turned it off. Eddie continues getting the equipment ready. Ian is introduced to Nick Van Owen, who is played by Vince Vaughn.
Which is a weird weird role for Vince Vaughn to be thrown into after doing like the Wedding Crashes. Swingers, like all his old. Oh, it's 97.
This is after Swingers. He hasn't done a lot. This is a very early role.
Oh, true. No, he hasn't either. Yeah, no, it would have been 2. So
It's a weird one because I always, quite often, not always, but quite often I forget Vince Vaughn is in the Jurassic Park movie because it's
so do I. As soon as you said that, I was just like, oh my god, it is 2. And he's not really like, he's a little bit jokey, but he's not comedic like he usually
very serious
is at all.
Yeah.
What's your background? Wildlife photography? Yeah, wildlife, combat, you name it. When I was at Nightline, I was in Rwanda, Chechnya, all over Bosnia. I do some volunteer work for Greenpeace once in a while. Greenpeace? Who drew you there? Woman, 80% female, Greenpeace. Noble. Yeah, well, Noble was last year. This year I'm getting paid. Hammond's check cleared, or I wouldn't be going on this wild goose chase. Ah, where you going is the only place in the world where geese chase you.
Malcolm's got some good lines, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Kelly, Malcolm's daughter, shows up. Ian breaks the news to her that he has to be a deadbeat dad and leave her with a babysitter while he goes on a secret work trip. I don't even know this woman.
What are you talking about? Come on, it's Karen. You've known her for 10 years.
She doesn't even have Sega. She's such a troglodyte.
Cruel, but good word use. Yeah, as bad as him. Like,
But good word use, yeah. See, now, in the 90s, people were judged on whether they had Sega or not. It was a very serious issue. Why can't I stay with Sarah?
because Sarah is out of town.
Malcolm continues to tell Kelly about how much fun she's going to have while he goes out of town. Kelly asks Ian where he's going. Malcolm says it's somewhere important and how he'll only be gone a few days.
I just wanted to make someone breakfast.
Like that.
I'm your daughter all the time, you know. You can't just abandon me whenever opportunity knocks.
Jeez, that hurt my feelings. Did your mom tell you to say that?
Kelly says how Ian never grounds or punishes her. It's like he doesn't even care. Malcolm says how Kelly has her gymnastics to concentrate on. Whoops. Deadbeat dad alert. Kelly informs her dad that she was cut from a team. Thanks for knowing. You like to have kids, but you don't want to be with them, do you? I was like, oh, it's a brutal shot there. Malcolm snaps at Kelly about her mum dumping her with him and splitting for Paris. Whoops.
Honey, I'm sorry. Hey, you want some good parental advice? Don't listen to me. That is good, though. That is good parental advice.
It's like later on when he's like, I promise I'll be back, you have my word. But you never kept your word. And he's like, and then he abseils down from the cage.
And then he just doesn't say anything else. He said, but you never kept your word.
Eddie shows Ian some of the equipment, including the high hide. More on this later. As Kelly walks through the equipment shop, you can hear Malcolm arguing with Eddie about how he wants to leave in 3 hours. The trip wasn't supposed to start for another 3 days.
Yeah, and he's literally like just commissioned all these people to make vehicles and trucks, and he's just called up the other team members and be like, nah, we'll just leave together. You know, he's just taken over the whole show, really.
How does Ian have that much power?
That's what I was thinking. I was just like, he's been trampled on. Everyone's like, yeah, nah, sure, we'll do this. You've still got money.
He's the main guy in this movie. Let's listen to him. Kelly plays around in one of the state-of-the-art caravan trailers. Kelly finds a large lit-up map on the wall. The map shows the Costa Rican islands where the dinosaurs are. There's Cinco Mutes. There is Isla Matanceros, Isla Muta, Isla Sorna, Isla Tucano, and Isla Pena.
Which you can all play on the new Jurassic Park Evolution 2.
And 1.
Yeah. Can you on the first one too?
It has the 5 deaths as well.
Oh, damn, I didn't unlock them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got them all now on the second one, Evolution, but...
I'm pretty sure they're all in the first one.
Is it an expansion?
Maybe I know the Jurassic Park one was. It's Jurassic Park expansion.
Oh, it is too, yeah.
Isla Nubla, though, is not one of the islands in the 5 deaths area. It's not. It's actually an island that's off from the rest of them.
So that's how that random family would have gone to it. It would have been, won't be in that no fly zone or whatever it is.
Isla Nubla was like over there. We're on a different island.
Because you'd expect that even the Costa Rican kind of government to have a boat there.
Well, no one knows about dinosaurs as it is, but even like the people who are on Isla Nubla on that tragedy don't know about Isla Sorna.
Yeah, true.
It's not until this movie that people find out.
And that little girl would have got kept under secret too, because that's why that team's taken it. Yeah, of course.
Cut to a boat traveling across the ocean. Malcolm and the crew are on board with all their high-tech gear. Isla Sorna comes into view. The music in The Lost World is interesting. It still has the adventure vibe to it, but darker and more serious. Not as hopeful and vibrant as the Jurassic Park score.
That's real kind of...
Yeah, it's adventurous, but it's dark and haunting. But yeah, it's not as hopeful at all as the Jurassic Park one. It's a lot more hopeful.
Yeah, it is. Even when they're going to the island in the helicopter, it's like, yeah! And when they're leaving at the end with the pterodactyl, it's like, yeah! And then it's like,
But this one's just like, it's just real dark kind of
yeah, it's
exploring
'cause
music.
they don't know what they're going to get into. It's like everything's just kind of...
Everything's darker. Eddie starts unpacking some of the equipment. Langston air rifle. Fires a subsonic Fluger impact delivery dart.
Does it work any better than your satellite phone?
That's funny. I loaded it with enhanced venom conus perpunicens. South Sea cone shell. Most powerful neurotoxin in the world. Acts with 0.0002 of a second, which is faster than nerve conduction velocity. So the animal's down before it even feels a prick of a dart.
Is there an antidote?
What do you mean? Like if you shot yourself in the foot? Don't do that. You'd be dead before you even realized you had an accident.
Yeah, that's so good. It's like, then what did they use in the third one then? What were those big, powerful bullets that they were using in the third one that did nothing?
The ones that they were showing off and then they never use those guns on the
No, I
island?
can't stop this plane.
Yeah, because they don't show you that those guns disappear or anything. They just don't use them.
They do a couple of shots and you can hear them in the forest, but then when the Spinosaurus races them out of the bush, he's just stood there like...
But they weren't missiles or rockets that they had. Maybe they only had one rocket and they had it at the testing place and they couldn't afford any more.
Or it fell out of the plane. And he's like...
Nick talks to the local boat captain. The captain will come back when they need him to, but he will not wait around the island. If they send him a call, he can be here in 2 hours.
They call the islands Las Cinco Muertes, the 5 deaths.
Cool name. Really cool name.
Real
Like
cool
it.
name.
Cut to the team driving their convoy on the land. Eddie can track Sarah's satellite phone. Malcolm finds Sarah's lucky pack. It's like all ripped up and shredded.
That's right. And he's just like, oh, God.
Must have been hang gliding off the coast of New Zealand now.
Hang gliding off the coast of New Zealand.
Everyone's got a lucky pack. The group start calling out.
My lucky pack. No, sorry. No. Sarah! 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 Sarah Harding! How many Sarahs do you think are on this island? Sarah!
I like that, like Nick and him going there. Because it comes back later on. How many times? I've seen this film quite a few times in my life, but I didn't really pick up later on the film. Just after the raptor chase through the cars and through the buildings and stuff, and they're going to see Nick at the end. And you hear Malcolm go, Nick Van Owen!
Oh, does he? Oh, that's gold.
He said it. It's like, oh, it's come back. I didn't realize.
Yeah, oh, that's funny.
The group then start hearing rustling noises nearby. Something big is coming. The group then come across a group of Stegosauruses. The moment is supposed to resemble, I'm guessing, the Brachiosaurus scene in Jurassic Park. That first moment of wonder.
It almost was. It was quite cool with the big tail kind of swinging as well.
Yeah, Stegosauruses are beautiful looking dinosaurs too. Nick starts to take pictures. This is magnificent.
Oh, yeah. Ooh, that's how it always starts. But then later there's running and screaming.
Great line. Great line. As Nick gets up on a log, Sarah comes into frame. She notices Nick and scares him by yelling, "Hey, Nick!" Sarah then sees Ian, who doesn't look at all impressed. Ian, I never thought in a million years Hammond would get you to come here. Sarah starts telling the group all about the Stegos. Sarah borrows Nick's camera so she can get more pictures. Ed and Sarah continue to talk about how he would have stopped Sarah from coming, hence she never told him. Apparently the dinosaurs survived the lysine protocol by the herbivores eating lysine-rich plants, and the carnivores survived by eating the lysine-rich herbivores.
Yeah, perfect. Ecological system.
Sarah takes a picture of one of the Stego babies, but when the camera runs out of film and starts rewinding, remember those days when film used to rewind?
It's like when you turned your modem on and you do...
Chung, chung. The noise scares the baby. The adult Stegos, who think Sarah is harming their baby, starts attacking Sarah.
Shoot them.
They're just protecting their baby.
So am I.
Sarah has to run through a hollow log to escape.
It's quite... Oh, yeah, it's quite... Oh, this
Those
bit.
spikes the Stegos have in their tails are lethal. You see how big they are. It's like, ooh.
And they're not sharp, but it's just blunt force... like, they go small to a point, blunt force trauma. That would just absolutely get you.
Be like stabbed with a blunt knife.
Butter knife, yeah.
The Stegos eventually leave. Cut to the group walking through the forest. Nick is talking about how he's going to get a Pulitzer for the photos he's going to get, while Ian and Sarah argue about how Sarah is sick of scraping through dirt and bone, and how Malcolm kept filling her head with stories.
Ah, yeah, stories of death and mutilation.
I've worked around predators since I was 20 years old. Lions, jackets, it says here.
It does too. Lions,
Jackets.
tigers, bears. Oh my. Yeah.
Lions, jackals, hyenas, you.
Yeah, see, that's a bit like you're his missus and you're calling him a predator as like a satirical type of thing. It's like,
Well, in the first movie, he did go, "Rrr,
Yeah.
rah,
Rrr.
grr." Eddie yells how there is fire at the camp. The group runs to the camp and finds that Kelly has tagged along for the ride. Cut to Malcolm trying to call the boat back via satellite phone. Kelly says how Malcolm practically told her to tag along. Sarah defends Kelly's choice of coming along. What? She's like 12 years old on a goddamn dinosaur island, Sarah. A goddamn dinosaur island.
plus she's making bacon, which is probably the worst thing. Like they'll all be smelling it going, oh my God, what is that?
Imagine smelling bacon.
I remember that girl eating that bacon sandwich a week
So
ago.
imagine smelling cooked bacon for the first time in your life.
Yeah, you'd run at it.
Oof, you'd be there in a hurry.
Yeah.
Ian keeps smacking the phone, trying to make it work. Violence and technology, not good, bad fellows.
I'm taking my daughter out of here, and anyone who wants to come with me, this is your last chance to get out.
The rest of the crew ignore Malcolm. Dad, are you mad?
No, I'm not mad. I'm furious.
Ian tries to get the phones working in the caravan, while Kelly and Sarah clean up. Sarah says to Ian that although it was sweet he came to rescue her, she doesn't need him right now. I'm the best kind of girlfriend there is. One that travels a lot. You like that, right? You like it, don't you? Don't you, Malcolm? You like it?
Yeah, don't you, Malcolm? You love it.
You like it.
It's chaos theory, Malcolm. Yeah.
I'll be back in 5 or 6 days.
No, you'll be back in 5 or 6 pieces.
That's great. I love Malcolm.
Because he would. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true,
He wasn't wrong the first time, and he's not wrong now.
Then there is a loud rumbling outside. A whole bunch of helicopters show up. The signs on the helicopters say InGen on them. Why would Hammond send 2 teams? Cut to the second InGen team driving around in jeeps and other vehicles. They are rounding up different dinosaurs and capturing them.
I hate this bit.
It's bad. I feel bad for the
They're
dinosaurs.
just cattle prodding them and just, I hated this
Abuse of
bit.
animals it's always just makes me mad, eh?
Even in a movie,
Yeah, even when it's digital animals.
Yeah.
Still makes you mad. The team is led by Roland Tempo, played by the legendary actor Peter Postlethwaite.
That's his name.
Of course, he's in Inception as well. He plays the dad in that. He was also in a movie with Daniel Day-Lewis in The Name of the Father. He played his father in that as well. Very good role.
Oh, he's got the glasses. Oh, he does too. He's the smaller fella.
Roland is joined in the Jeep by his hunting partner AJ and Ludlow, who's in the back. Ludlow thinks where they are is a perfect place for a base camp and radios to start setting one up.
Cancel that order.
What? Why?
This is a game trial, Mr. Ludlow. Carnival's
Trail.
trial. This is a game trial. You got 3 hours left on your trial before it runs out.
I'll see you in dinosaur court.
This is a game trail, Mr. Ludlow. Carnivals hunt on game trails. Do you want to set up base camp or a buffet?
Ludlow cancels the base camp order.
Peter, if you want me to run your little camping trip, there are 2 conditions. Firstly, I'm in charge, and if I'm not around, Dieter is. All you need to do is sign the checks, tell us we're doing a good job, and open your case of scotch when we're having a good day. Second condition, my fee. You can keep it. All I want in exchange for my services is the right to hunt one of those Tyrannosaurus. A male, a buck only. How and why are my business. Now, if you don't like either of these conditions, you're on your own. Solo ahead, set up base camp, right here or in a swamp, or in the middle of a Rex nest for all I care. But I've been to too many safaris with rich dentists to listen to any more suicidal ideas. Okay.
Okay.
But that's the first time he's stopped playing his and just gone, oh, you're serious. You know exactly what you're talking about. And I am that rich dickhead.
Like, at first, Roland's just a 2-dimensional character like this, and you're like, oh crap, he's just going to be the guy that wants to hunt a Tyrannosaur. But he keeps evolving and you get to know him more and more through the movie.
He's almost smarter, yeah.
And at the end, he says, I'm done working for this, the Company of Death, I think he calls it. I'm done working for the Company of Death.
He calls it something, doesn't he? He's just, he just pulls his finger and he just goes, this is a waste of my time. I'm going to end up dying here.
Losing AJ was the final straw for him. Because AJ is the guy who's like, don't run into the field! Don't go into the grass!
That's right, don't run into the long grass! And they all do.
As he's run into long grass as well.
Yeah.
I really like Roland as a character, but at first, first impression is like, this guy's just a punk. But he knows what he's talking about.
And then after all that happens in the field too, you tell me an animal that you've hunted that does that.
At what cost, all this is at what cost?
Yeah.
You would think that Roland and Ludlow would have had that conversation like before they came to the island, but
Nope. We'll have it for satire on screen.
we'll have it during the working of it. Like, this should be the first thing they talk about when he's asking them to do it.
Yeah, it should have been. Why don't they sit down and do these things first? He's just like, let's just...
We'll have a chat about it once we fly there and we're halfway actually catching the dinosaurs, then I'll tell you exactly what I want.
Yeah.
Roland tries to pronounce the scientific names for the dinosaurs, but gives up quickly and starts describing them by their looks. The shots of the vehicles driving through the dinosaurs is pretty cool. The bike going between the legs of the brachiosaur is awesome. It's a good shot.
Yeah, it is. Real good animation for that time, actually.
The first movie, it's the same kind of quality as that, because it's not a Spielberg film.
Yeah, all the shadows and everything. Yeah, they absolutely nailed that.
Beautifully shot, yeah. His dinosaur guy gets really excited by all of this. I like the hippie dinosaur guy, because he's kind of a play on one of the experts that actually was on set for Jurassic Park. I can't remember his name, but he was the one that was describing how his theory was that dinosaurs evolved into birds. And he was the one that got laughed at, like kind of Alan Grant. So they made him kind of a character in this, but he's kind of like a real caricature of him. He's like a hippie guy.
Yeah, he is. He's real like, yeah. And then he walks over to the one with the hen. He goes, these guys can line up like this and do the full...
Then they watch the guy get creamed through the Jeep. And they're like, oh, let's get him out of here.
Yeah, that bit's good.
Yeah, he also gets snaked later on, yeah.
Oh, he does too. He's just like, oh...
Here we go. The Packy smashing into the Jeep door is amazing. Such force from its head sends the guy flying through the car.
As he lines up after he's explained, when they line up, they get full force of... Yeah.
Because they actually did that stunt for real. They actually had like the machine that pushed that door and pushed the guy out the other side.
Oh, that's cool.
And then it's inserted in the dinosaur.
Almost like one of those punch gloves, yeah. That's cool.
It's sad seeing those wonderful creatures getting caught and caged.
I think the most upsetting thing about it all was just knowing that it would not change in the 21st century. If dinosaurs were around today, they would do the exact same thing and they'd put them in cages and it would just be horrible.
Yeah, it'd be trophy hunting.
God, it would be too, wouldn't it? And they'd just murder them. Oh, yeah, God. Okay, let's not think about that.
What dentists do in their thing, they go and kill lions that are endangered species.
That's right, yeah.
Cut to Nick up on the cliffs above. He's using surveillance equipment to tap into the other team's comms. Ian, Kelly, Nick, Sarah, and Eddie watch the dinosaurs running from Ludlow's team. Dieter in the Jeep with the extendable car seat is pretty cool. He kind of like whoops out of the car and has the rifle.
I love those.
Kind of similar in the new Ghostbusters film. They kind of do that with the out of the car.
Oh, they do too with the big arc cannon thing on it.
Yeah. It's like Lost World Jurassic Park.
You copied them.
I think G.I. Joe did it too, to be fair. Like the toys themselves.
The toys did have the inserts that you could pull out and in, yeah.
The grim look on the faces of Sarah, Eddie, and the crew says it all. These pricks must be stopped. Cut to later on. You can see AJ's reflection in a puddle of a very familiar looking footprint. Roland asks hippie dinosaur guy about them.
You recognize these tracks?
Yes, I do. Tyrannosaur. Cut to Roland loading up his rifle. Hey, Roland, where do you think you're going?
To collect my fee, Mr. Ludlow. To collect my fee.
Dieter comes across a compy. Hippie dino guy is excited by the compy. Dieter readies his taser weapon.
Is it dangerous?
No, I wouldn't think so. Compies have been presumed to be scavengers, like jackals or jackets.
It gives me the creeps. It's like it's not scared.
There hasn't been any visitors to this island. There's no reason for it to fear man. Dieter tases the compy, causing it to run off.
Oh, it does. He's such a dick. He just puts it right in between its poor little head too, and just the whole arc's just...
It's the ultimate setup payoff too.
Oh, 100%. They definitely remembered him. Yes. They've got nothing to fear because they've never seen him before. Well, they remember you.
Roland and AJ come across a Rex nest and come across an infant T-Rex.
Even this bit, yeah.
Yeah, they break the leg, it's nasty. Cut to night. Roland and AJ decide to chain up the infant T-Rex and break in its leg so it can cry out for the adult to come back. Baby Rex cries as Roland and AJ wait in a nearby tree.
Wow. Wow.
Cut to Ludlow's base camp. The crew are unloading crates and other base camp type of things. Ian and the other crew are watching up from the bushes.
This is why Hammond was in such a hurry to get you here. He knew they were coming.
My God, they're well organized. Those are some major league toys.
Yeah, maybe I should ask them to use their phone. Their dish is bigger than yours.
So they actually want to build another park here? After what you said happened on the other island?
They're not building anything. They're taking these animals out of here, back to the mainland. God, that's a bad idea.
Yes.
It's such a bad idea. Like it.
Again, it's another Malcolm line later on. He goes, that's the worst idea in the history of bad ideas.
I think I should tell you. Hammond told me these people might show up. He thought we'd be finished by the time they started, but in case they weren't, he did send a backup plan.
What backup plan?
Me.
Man, he's got the clippers.
Yeah, he brings out those bolt cutters. He's just like, ha ha. I was like, you little protagonist, Vince Vaughn.
He's a bit smarmy because he's got good intentions, but like Greenpeace, sometimes he goes too far. When he messes with the rifle, I'm like, you're surrounded by dinosaurs that are tracking you everywhere you go, and you've got rid of the weapon that might save your life.
And cutting them all out of cages was a bit reckless.
Well, that one I understand.
I liked it, yeah, but it was a bit reckless for like just the people.
Yeah, it's like Greenpeace. They have good intentions, but sometimes they just don't think about how it affects everyone else. Almost like John Hammond.
Yeah, literally. That's exactly how it is, yeah. So Greenpeace, if you're no.
Greenpeace, we understand what you're trying to do, but we don't understand why you're doing it in a certain way you are. It comes down to Ludlow doing a video presentation to the Intune board, showing them his idea of building a Jurassic Park in the San Diego Zoo.
See, I loved the idea as a kid. Then you grow up, you realise what people do to the planet and do to animals, and you go, that's a horrible idea.
Or let's have dinosaurs that were, like, if they go off the island, could be dangerous. Imagine a T-Rex. Like, they show you, imagine what T-Rex can do and one T-Rex could do.
Even pterodactyl.
What would happen if you had a whole lot of dinosaurs escape?
Yeah, even just compies. The breed. Just like rabbits, within a couple of weeks, you're waking up and you've got all these little dinosaurs jumping through your windows, eating all your trash.
Eating your babies. Oh,
yeah, true. Like the one in Costa Rica, as you said, yeah. Like in the book.
And that was just a few of them. Ludlow says how shortly he will show them some of the larger, more impressive dinosaurs as they take a stroll through the camp. Meanwhile, Nick and Sarah start unlocking and using bolt cutters to break the locks off cages in the camp. You don't bring people halfway around the world to visit a zoo. You bring the zoo to them. San Diego is the perfect setting. People already associate our beautiful city with animal attractions.
Yeah, like he does all this, like I understand it, but at least Hammond had the logic to not take it to the city. Like to test and trial it first and do it all on an island so that we could go to it. So it's not just, haha, if it does turn to crap. Like at least he had that.
Well, Hammond had the original idea of bringing them over. That's why it was already built.
Yeah.
But then he realised even for him, it's too risky.
Yeah, damn right.
It's too risky.
But then Ludlow's like, eh.
Who cares, people? As long as we get their money, who cares? Nick and Sarah continue opening cage doors. I love seeing all the practical dinosaurs here. The steam that comes out of the Triceratops' noses is incredible.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's almost like the first one when they're digging through its poo. Yeah. And it's kind of just like breathing on the ground.
The brachiosaur when they're patting it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Sneezes? Yeah, like a big cow. Yeah.
Sneezes on them.
Bless you. Ludlow explains how before John Hammond built Jurassic Park in Costa Rica, he in fact began construction on an amphitheatre in San Diego. But he abandoned it. The complex could be completed and ready to receive visitors in less than a month.
Well, he abandoned it for good reason.
There's reasons why. If John Hammond doesn't want to do it, you got to think about it, really.
Yeah.
A Triceratops then crashes through the tent, knocking and flipping a jeep in its rampage. The camp is overrun by all the different dinosaurs.
And all the people are just watching it on their live stream. Yeah. All the investors just watching it, yeah.
What could happen? Imagine, this is an island that only has a handful of people on it. Imagine a city. Roland sees an explosion from camp and from the tree near the T-Rex nest. They narrowly escape the tree before a flaming jeep lands in the tree.
Yeah, I love that.
Right in their tree.
Well, the Triceratops must have just run over to it and just smashed it with its head, I reckon.
Oh, but that aim is incredible.
Yeah.
Nick grabs the injured infant Rex. Roland finds Dieter.
That's the last time I leave you in charge. And Dieter's like, oh.
That's why he hates Nick so much, because Nick caused him to lose his rank.
Yeah.
Nick meets up with Sarah holding the injured baby Rex. Sarah asks Nick if he's out of his mind. Oh man, Ian's not going to like this. Dieter finds and hands Roland one of the cut padlocks. What's going on?
Isn't it obvious? We're not alone on this island.
Dun dun dun. Ian and Kelly get to the trailer while heavy rain starts to pour outside. Oh no, not another storm.
Ow.
This wasn't good in the last movie. Ian tries once again to try and contact the boat so that he can get off the island. Eddie starts to set up the hide, a cage device that is connected by a wire to a jeep.
Great idea.
Yeah, and I love it. It's good. It's a way so you can get up high off the ground from possible danger. Sarah and Nick drive by with the screaming baby Rex.
But I'd give it about an hour of velociraptors looking at it before they figured out how it was in there. They'd just pull the chain out of the ground and just watch it drop, and then there'd just be mushed people in it, and they'd be like, yeah,
Yeah, desert anyone?
cool.
What the hell was that? Ian starts trying to speak Spanish through the radio to an operator lady.
Is this the boat? We're on Isla Sorna. We need to talk to the boat. Mar del Plata, ma'am.
Let me try to do it. Nick and Sarah arrive at the trailer with a baby Rex.
Oh, no, honey, no.
Nick and Sarah put baby Rex on a table, but not baby, because no one puts baby on a table. Nick takes his belt off, ties the belt around the baby's mouth to muzzle it.
And then it goes when they put the chewing gum on it. It's just like ooh, much better.
The baby Rex practical effects are incredible.
Yeah, they did that. Was it animatronic?
It was, because they're carrying it at one stage.
Oh, true, they are
Yeah.
too. Yeah, I thought it was a hand puppet from. No, it was
No,
too.
animatronic.
One who owns that.
It's probably somewhere.
Yeah, someone owns that.
Sarah ultrasounds the baby Rex's leg and finds the break. Kelly gets scared by the baby Rex possibly attracting other dinosaurs, which is realistic.
It'll be that noise. It'll be that primal noise. That's like help, 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 and she's like, whoa.
I want out of here. Something's coming. She says to Ian that she needs to get away. She needs to be somewhere high. Oh, sit up. Eddie takes Ian and Kelly up in the high hide. Nick and Sarah continue sitting and casting the baby Rex's leg.
Okay, we're high, and this is the safest place you can be, I think. Like Sarah said before, these plants make it so the animals won't know you're here.
You're just trying to make me feel better. I remember the stories you told.
Oh, no, this is nothing like that. We're in a completely different situation right now.
Then there is a very familiar yet chilling sound that sends fear across Ian's face. The sound of an adult T-Rex.
Eddie, is there any way we can communicate with the trailers?
Eddie, in complete shock, hands Ian a nearby phone. Imagine hearing it if you've heard it before, knowing exactly what it
You'd
is.
be like, oh no, it's back, and it's like twice the size and probably the son of the one.
We expected one, but you wouldn't expect two to show up.
Nah, you wouldn't.
Nick notices the phone going off, and he goes to grab it, but Sarah stops him by saying she needs his help. When they don't answer, Ian asks if there's a way down from the high hide. Eddie gets Ian to tie a belt around him so he can abseil down to warn Sarah and Nick. He goes that line I took about before.
I'm coming right back. I give you my word.
But you never keep your word. Ian looks awkward for a moment before abseiling down and not squeezing the rope very hard, causing him to hit the ground at a reasonably hard impact. Personally, I would have squeezed a little bit harder. You see, I'm coming back. You hear the bushes. Sarah and Nick have almost finished putting the cast on the baby Rex's leg. Sarah needs another adhesive, something pliable.
I love how he just spits in her hand.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, what are you doing?
Sarah notices Nick's chewing gum. Sarah holds out her hand. Spit. Nick spits into Sarah's hand. Your gum! Eddie and Kelly can see movement in the nearby trees. Something large walks right underneath them. Ian sprints towards the trailer. The phone in the trailer goes off again. Ian makes it to the trailer.
For once in your life, would it kill you to pick it up? Help me get this thing out of here.
No, we just set its leg. A car then goes rolling past the window and off a nearby cliff.
Mommy's very angry.
The close-up shot of a drenched Ian listening and waiting for signs of the Rex is great. This is where the sound stops again, the music. Like in the first movie when...
And you can just hear the water
in the
as well.
first T-Rex attack, in the first movie we talked about how there's no music. It's just the sound of the rain and the T-Rex and just the movement sounds. They do it again here. There's no music through the whole trailer scene.
Oh, they're not. See, they nailed that. They nailed those scenes. It's just that real... Because you'd just be sitting there not breathing, just...
Yeah, no, all you hear is the rain outside and you hear the...
Yeah. And then it kind of outside moving.
Yeah, and there's a close-up of Ian Malcolm's face and you see the water dripping off his nose. Oh, this is great filmmaking. The Rex shows up outside the window. The baby Rex is drowsy from a sedative that Sarah gave it. Some great shots here, like seeing Sarah through the window, through the jaws of the T-Rex, like outside,
Yeah,
you see
when
the
it's like-
jaws. Oh.
And then that eye,
Yeah, the Godzilla eye? Yep. They came for their infant.
Well, let's not disappoint them.
They pick up baby Rex, remove the muzzle, and walk to the side door of the trailer. Sarah gets right up to the face of the adult Rex and lets the baby Rex free. Eddie says how the Rex is heading back into the jungle. Sarah, Ian, and Nick regather themselves after the T-Rex encounter and start arguing about listening to one another and the parental instincts of a T-Rex. Ian then has a look of dread on his face.
Hang on. This is gonna be bad.
The trailer is rocked and spun to the side. Another great shot of the trailer being spun, but the camera staying in a fixed position. So you see it inside the trailer? It's just on a rotating crank.
Yeah, how did they do that?
They spun the room and kept the camera in the still position.
Even when they did the glass scene?
I like the glass later on. I'm not sure if it's practical, but the turning one is. The Rex is knocking the trailer off the side of the cliff. There is not just one T-Rex, however. There's two. The squealing of the tires against the rain-soaked mud is great.
Yeah,
It's just the wheels getting mushed along.
hang on to something, hang on to something.
Like, yeah, hang on to something, hang on to something. The first trailer that Ian, Sarah, and Nick are in gets pushed over the side of the cliff, leaving them dangling. The bottom door of the trailer falls off, leaving only a glass window. Sarah then falls and lands on the glass. It's on the image there as well for the...
Oh, it is too. Yeah, it's terrifying.
It's a great shot. This is one of the best shots.
You can just hear it going...
Like, Jurassic Park is obviously, a great movie and the perfect movie for us as well. And still, no surprise, it's the best movie in the whole series. But I think this is one of the greatest shots. This, or when they figured out the T-Rex sound through the water, the impact tremors.
Oh, with the dropping...
That, or I reckon this scene with the glass is my two favourite scenes out of all Jurassic Park. I just love how it's
like
cracking.
when the trailer goes straight off over them and it's just them on the rope like, oh.
Yeah, but just seeing her face as the glass cracks.
Yeah, and it's only on her hands too when she's trying to slowly push herself up.
Yeah.
It's just like crack, crack, crack. She's like...
So good. Ian starts heading down to help Sarah. The sat phone hangs above. If it falls, it will break the glass that Sarah is hanging on from. Nick reaches for the sat phone. Ian reaches for Sarah's hand. Nick misses the sat phone and it falls.
Heads up!
Sarah grabs onto her lucky pack, while Ian grabs onto that, stopping Sarah from falling.
Your lucky pack.
Cut to Eddie driving in a car. Ian and Nick pull Sarah up to the frame of the trailer. Eddie shows up at the trailer looking for Ian, Sarah and Nick. Eddie lets Ian know that Kelly is still up in the high hide. What do you need?
Rope.
Rope. Anything else?
Yeah, 3 double cheeseburgers with everything. No onions on mine.
And an apple turnover. Classic jokes.
Yeah. Very serious, but it breaks the tension.
After that hilarious banter, Eddie grabs rope from the truck and ties it to a nearby tree. Eddie then throws the rope down to Ian, Sarah and Nick. I love how this sequence though, from when Eddie is outside grabbing the rope to when he throws it down to them, it's all in fact one shot. So once he runs out, he runs around to the back of the truck, grabs the rope, then runs around the tree from the rope, but the camera's following him.
Oh, it is too. Yeah, it does. It's all one shot and then follows him back to when he hooks it on. Yeah.
And then when he looks down, it follows him down where they are. So they must have been hanging. They must have been hanging because it's a one shot. Yeah, it's a great shot. So the trailer starts to slide more off the cliff. Eddie goes outside and sees the wheels of the trailer moving towards the cliff's edge.
Yeah, it's horrible just watching them slow. He's like, oh, God.
I gotta do something, he's thinking. Eddie then gets an idea. He grabs the hook from a cable on the front of his truck and attaches it to the trailer. Eddie reattaches the rope to the tree that has come loose because the rope comes loose. He has to retie it. Sarah notices the rope is tight.
Oh, Eddie.
Eddie then gets in the truck and flicks it in reverse, sliding from side to side as he tries to pull the trailer back from the edge of the cliff. Sarah falls while climbing to the rope, causing the three to slide back down to the bottom of the rope. The T-Rexes return, however. Eddie looks out at them as he continues to reverse and pull the trailer up while the Rexes destroy his Jeep.
Because the way that I thought about it is like, because they're obviously smart, so they would have taken the baby home and just gone, let's go back.
Yeah.
Let's get them out of here.
Now that the baby's safe, we have to destroy them, make sure they don't come back again.
We're the alpha predators on this island. They're gone. Yeah.
Eddie tries to grab the gun, but it's stuck on some of the camping netting, the stuff that they hung up in the movie cinema.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it would have been too. That would have looked so good. Like,
Eddie is eventually grabbed by a T-Rex. The other Rex grabs on too, and they rip poor Eddie apart. Similar to the lawyer death in Jurassic Park, although Eddie definitely didn't deserve it.
no,
He was a hero.
He didn't at all. The lawyer did because he was just...
He left the kids. He left us. He left us.
And yeah, he left us. He left us. He just runs and sits down on the toilet like... The T-Rex is like, oh, well.
Where's he going? Well, when you gotta go. The trailer falls off the cliff. Ian, Sarah, and Nick cling on as the trailer goes past them and to the rocks below. This we talking about before, how they go through the trailer.
Yeah, it's such a good shot to watch there. The camera just sits there like above them fixed and the trailer just goes boom and you just watch it just drop to the cliff below and the water banging up again.
The only thing that doesn't hold up that well there is the explosion itself from below them. Yeah, it looks very kind of green screen. Just doesn't hold up as well as everything else.
Michael Bay should have done that.
Well, it's digital. It showed you when they did practical how much better it holds up over time than digital. Like digital is good at the time, but dates a lot quicker.
When they blew the car up and they hit it into the tree in that previous scene, perfect. That looked wonderful because they'd actually lit the car on fire and then...
So why quite often movies in the 80s hold up a lot better than 90s movies, because 90s they dabbled more in CGI.
Yeah, where it was a bit...
CGI dates so much faster than practical. The three make their way up to the top of the cliff, where an outreached hand helps pull them up. It's Roland and his crew. Kelly runs and hugs Ian. It's a good scene actually, seeing them getting pulled up, and even though they're bad guys, they're not looking to kill them. Yeah. Cut to Roland talking to Ian.
Our communication equipment's been destroyed, and if your radio and satellite were in those trailers that went over the cliff, they were, then we're stuck here, ladies and gentlemen, and stuck together thanks to you people. Hey, we came here to watch. You came to strip mine the place.
At least we came prepared.
Prepared? Whoa. What are you talking about? 5 years of work and 100 miles of electrified fence couldn't prepare the other island. And you think, like, what? A couple of dozen Marlboro men will make a difference here?
That's a good line. They continue the argument about who should be to blame, and if extinct animals should have rights. But let's move on. Ludlow pulls out a map. There is a communication centre near the old operations building. It runs on geothermal power. It was never meant to be replenished. If they can get there, they can send a radio call to the airlift. The village is about a day's walk, maybe more. Sending the signal isn't the problem. What is the problem, you say? Velociraptors. Their nesting sites are in the island's interior, which is why Ludlow's team were planning on keeping to the outer rim. This is what Hammond warned about earlier as well.
Stay on the outside because the interiors are all the carnivores.
Yeah, but you thought T-Rexes, but no, it's raptors.
Yeah, of course it would be raptors.
The smartest of the smart, so they're going to be in the best place.
Like a dolphin on legs.
Yeah, pretty much.
Terrifying.
Sarah says the Rex may also still track them as they pose a threat to the infant. Happy Dono Guy says that Sarah is wrong. They'll lose them once they leave their territory. No, don't bet on it. The team start to plan their way to the comms building.
Rex just fed, so he won't stalk us for food. Just fed? I assume you're talking about Eddie? You might show a little respect. The man saved our lives by giving his. Then his troubles are over. My point is predators don't hunt when they're not hungry. No, only humans do. Oh, you're breaking our heart. Saddle up. Let's get this movable feast underway.
He's right there.
Movable feast.
Only humans do.
Yeah, yeah, damn right.
Yeah. Roland's lines are so good as well. Same as Malcolm's, like, yes, it's one thing to write them and they're always good, but the performance of E. Malcolm and of course Roland as well, it's just they deliver it with such angst and dramatic kind of posture that it's so good. Cut to the group walking as daylight starts to take effect. The montage carries them through a rainstorm as well. Very much like Forrest Gump here, when it's like rained and rained and rained.
Dreadful.
Nick talks to Roland.
You want some gum?
Roland just looks at Nick.
Seems like you had a shred of common sense. The hell are you doing here? Somewhere on this island is the greatest predator that ever lived. Second greatest predator must take him down. You're going to use that.
Nick points to Roland's rifle.
If he doesn't surrender, yes. Let me see for a second. Nope. The animal exists on the planet for the first time in tens of millions of years, and the only way you can express yourself is to kill it. Remember that chap about 20 years ago? I forgot his name. Climbed Everest without oxygen, nearly came down dead. They asked him, "Why did you go up there to die?" He said, "I didn't. I went up there to live."
There's a good line, and he kind of carries on walking. It's like, yeah, take that, Nick.
Yeah.
Ian talks to Ludlow.
Say, I haven't had the chance to wish you luck on your new business venture. You're off to a promising start.
My team is intact, Doctor. I'm sorry for the loss of your man. You know, it's very easy to criticize someone who generates an idea, someone who assumes all the risk.
Whenever you try to sound like Hammond, it just comes off like a hustle. I mean, it's not your fault. They say talent skips your generation. So, hey, I'm sure your kids will be sharp as tacks.
Hammond's research exceeded his grasp. Mine does not.
Taking dinosaurs off this island is the worst idea in the long, sad history of bad ideas. And I'm going to be there when you learn that.
So good. The group continue their montage walk, hearing dinosaurs in the distance and seeing blood on some of the plants as they come across. Roland tells the group to take a break. 5 minutes. Roland sets his rifle down next to Sarah, making sure the blood on her clothes was not hers. So he still cares. It wasn't. It was the baby T-Rex's from before. Roland gets lured away by Ludlow. Nick sits next to Sarah and notices Roland's rifle. Dieter tells Carter, another member of Ludlow's group, that he's going to the bathroom. Carter can't hear him though. He has headphones in and listening to music.
Connor! Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Eric! Eric! Sorry, it reminded me of Jurassic Park 3.
Eric! Yeah, Eric! What's about it? Yeah, that's so good.
Dieter gets prepared to do his business. When he hears a noise around him, he grabs his rifle and looks around. Dieter gets scared by a dinosaur that comes out of the bushes, but it's just one of those little compies that he tasered earlier. They're harmless, right? Dieter laughs. Dieter uses his taser on the compy once more. He then calls out for Carter as he's been turned around in the forest.
Connor!
I mean, I know Carter is wearing headphones and can't hear him, but what about any other person in the group? Why can't they hear him?
Exactly what I thought when I was watching it the other day. I just thought, why can no one else hear him screaming? Connor! And then when he falls down that cliff, it's just like, you would have heard that. Everyone would have heard. Everyone's sitting there just, don't even worry about it.
And they took the thing where he can't hear anything, like the noise cancelling headphones, to the extreme, because even when they're moving on, they throw a pebble at him to say, hey dude, we're moving on.
Yeah, they're talking to him. Yeah, he hears nothing.
He's not looking anywhere around them. Like the group is moving around him, and they're not that far away, so they should be able to hear him.
You'd hear him. You'd hear the ground too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. Dieter slips down a bank and falls hard to the ground below. He loses his weapon in the process. As Dieter lays on the ground, the compies swarm him. It's a pretty rad looking shot of him trying to fight them all off. It's like, they swarm him.
They just get more and more and more, and then you hear the crunching, and then there's just that little pool of...
It seems like a bunch of sparrows attacking someone.
It almost would be, yeah.
Just a flock of them.
Just pecking eyes and...
And he's like on the ground struggling as they're all attacking him. Like, oof. One of the compies bites into his neck. The one that bites onto his lip is nasty.
So nasty, and it's just
it just tugs it off. Imagine it'd be like ripping out a piercing almost, like you might have your piercing.
It would be, just rip that out.
Dieter fights off the compies. The compies line up on a nearby log, just staring and chirping at him. Dieter then turns his back and walks the other way. The compies follow. He runs at the compies and throws stones in their direction to scare them off, and starts then calling out for Roland. Cut back to Roland grabbing his rifle.
Okay, break over, moving on.
The group continue on, without Dieter. As Carter gets nudged that they're moving on, you see that Dieter's bag is still there. Dieter continues running through the jungle, while the compies pursue. Dieter once again falls to the ground in the creek. The compies again just jump down near him. One pops up on Dieter's back, and then more attack him once again. It's like, oof.
Yeah, it's brutal.
It's nasty what they do, man.
Just imagine what they would have done to that little girl. No defense, no nothing. Just
And though it was only after about probably a minute or two of attacking her,
yeah,
they had a good 10-15 minutes before Roland would even come near them.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Dieter gets up and runs again. Dieter crawls over a nearby log, but as he does, you see the compies pursuing him. You can hear the compies as they devour him from the other side of the log. You hear,
They must have just, I don't even know, like climbed inside him and just eaten.
they would have gone for his throat,
all the veins.
veins, he was bled out. Yeah. Because imagine if a needle can hit your vein and all bleed out.
Yeah, that's true. And they've got little needle teeth, and there's like 1,000 of them that size,
Yeah.
if not a little bit bigger. Yeah, no.
The creek water runs red with blood. Cut back to a direct face shot of Roland. He's talking to Carter, asking him when he last saw Dieter.
Come with me, and you, if he's alive, we'll find him. The rest of you keep right on. 10 minutes, you should reach the ridge. Wait for us there. Oh, and Miss Harding? No one tells the little girl.
Yeah, again, he shows you he actually cares.
Yeah.
I like Roland as a character. You presume one thing when you first meet him, but learn there are many layers to this character as you go along in the film.
He keeps people safe, but he's like also an alpha, like just wants to kill the biggest.
He's a hunter, but with morals and standards.
Yeah.
Ludlow gets up. Right, let's carry on. No one on the group moves. Everybody up. No one moves. Come on, up, up, up. Nick then gets up.
All right, guys, let's get the hell out of here.
The group get to their feet. Love that part. Shows you no one has respect for Ludlow.
Absolutely no respect. And he knows it too. He's just like, oh, I'm wearing my suit.
You're just the money. Cut to the group camping at night. Ludlow is sleeping out in the open with others nearby. I'm like, that's ballsy. Sleeping out in the open when dinosaurs are around, but sure. AJ is wide awake and alert with his gun in hand. AJ doesn't get too much to do in this film, but I do like his character. AJ then sees Roland return and brings him a water canister. Ian joins AJ and Roland.
Did you find them? Just the parts they didn't like? Map. The operations building is right in there, about 1.5 miles from the base of these cliffs. How do you know that? I've seen it. Now, the climb won't be easy.
Unless you just slide down it.
Yeah, that's true, actually. Yeah. The climb down won't be easy. Yeah, just slide down. I'm sure they have parachutes or some kind of like...
The way it is like it's almost like a natural hydro slide. It's just like a half pipe sort of thing.
It would, though, yeah. Well, let them sleep 1 more hour, then we'll hit it.
Cut to Sarah and Kelly asleep in a tent with Hershey's Crackle chocolate bars nearby. Ian is walking around. So it's a Hershey's Crackle. I had to look it up, see what it was. Because half of it was ripped off, so I couldn't figure out what it was, so I looked it up. Hershey's Crackle. Ian is walking around the camp when he hears a familiar sound and feels a familiar rumble. Sarah wakes up. Oh no. Sarah puts the Hershey Crackle bars in a plastic bag and hides them, knowing all too well that T-Rexes can't resist the smooth milk chocolate taste of Hershey's Crackle.
Yeah, definitely. Not the blood that she's covered in that may or may not be the young one's blood, but, you know, cover the chocolate away because, oh no.
I can't let anything happen to the chocolate.
T-Rex can smell the chocolate, that's why it's here. It's coming back!
Hershey's Crackle, coming back this fall. Sarah goes to turn the light off. When she does, you can see the silhouette of the Rex outside.
Chocolate?
Hershey's Crackle? The T-Rex sticks his head in the tent. Kelly wakes up. Sarah covers Kelly's mouth to stop her from screaming. The Rex can smell the blood of the infant on Sarah's jacket that is hanging above her. Ian realizes that Kelly is in the tent that the Rex is in. Carter wakes up and sees the Rex and starts screaming. The noise alerts the Rex.
Yeah, it's just like, oh my god, shut up, please.
How he dies is pretty nasty, which is going to show you shortly.
He gets stomped, doesn't he?
He's the guy who gets stomped and carried along.
I thought it was too. Yeah, gets carried. Oh.
It's like he gets stuck to the bottom of his foot for a while.
And then he just, and then again, poor Carter.
Yeah, that's coming up very shortly. Carter wakes up, so Ian tries to tell the group not to move. But everyone runs, including Sarah and Kelly. It's crazy how different Malcolm's character is in this compared to Jurassic Park. Because now he's got more of that knowledge. He's a weird hybrid between what Malcolm was and what Alan Grant is.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, definitely. He kind of has that, right, I know what to do, kind of. Not really,
I'm not an expert in dinosaurs, but I know kind of how to survive an emergency now. Roland tries to shoot the Rex, but his gun has been tampered with by Nick.
Thanks, Nick.
Yep. In hindsight, Nick, not a great idea on an island of dinosaurs trying to tamper with guns.
Yeah, not the wedding crasher this time. You're the Lost World crasher.
Yeah, they'll burn him. The group run as the Rex pursues them. Carter meets his end when he falls into a puddle and gets stepped on by a T-Rex.
Yeah, he kind of just falls backwards, doesn't he? And it just...
His body sticks to the Rex's foot for a few steps.
Because he would have gone into the puddle and squished into the mud too. Oh, that poor guy. Poor Carter.
He didn't have his headphones on there. Cut to Roland preparing a tranquilizer dart gun. I like the fluffy ends the darts have. I've always liked
big fluffy ends you just watch it disappear into the...
Yeah. It's awesome. This is where I realised that, once again, 2 T-Rexes in this attack, as Roland is near one while the other is chasing the group. At first it's like, there's 2 of them again.
Oh, true. It's still like kind of sniffing around for stuff. It is too, yeah. And he takes a couple pop shots at it.
He does. Roland hits the Rex with a tranquilizer dart, then reloads the very 90s looking gun.
And you watch its skin do that weird... where it kind of goes, whoa, and kind of shakes when it gets shot, just ripples its skin. It's insane.
Cut back to the group. They make their way to a waterfall and hide inside. The Rex sticks his snout in, but can't quite reach. But then Hippie Dino Guy gets a very colourful and I assume very poisonous snake slither into his shirt.
Yeah, that's a typical like poisonous red, black, white stripes. It's just like, oh.
There's a snake in my shirt.
There's a snake in my boot.
Hippie Dino Guy freaks out and moves towards the waterfall and gets grabbed by the Rex. Bye, Mr. Hippie Dino Guy. The waterfall runs red. Just like before when the creek, now the waterfall runs red.
And that crunch.
Yep.
Oh.
They hear a noise once more.
It's coming back!
It shows the entrance of the waterfall. You expect a Rex, but instead get Ian Malcolm.
Looking like real stressed out too.
Like he just transformed from being a T-Rex.
Chaos. Everything's chaos.
Imagine that twist ending that Ian Malcolm was actually like a werewolf T-Rex.
Yeah, he was the T-Rex. Yeah. That's why he keeps talking about chaos theory and why he got so upset about no one listening to him. It's me.
Ian thanks Nick for keeping his family safe. The panicked group run through the trees and come to some long grass. They start running through it.
But they shouldn't.
AJ yells out on the men, "Don't go into the long grass!" The men keep running. "Not into the long grass!" AJ is screaming as he himself runs into the long grass. Some raptors start popping their heads up in the long grass.
And you watch them too from that bird's eye view. You just see, you see them come in.
Almost like a crop machine coming through.
It is. It's like,
I love the shot of the men wading through the grass, but you can see the lines being made heading towards the group as the raptors approach, like you just said. It is a beautiful scene.
yeah, it's so nice. Just above that, just above the trees too, because you wouldn't see it otherwise. If you did it front on, you'd just be like, I can't see anything. Might see a little tip of a tail, if that, but they're ambush predators, so they would have put everything down.
This is perfect. The men start getting taken out one by one, Batman style.
Yeah, it is.
The men start to panic as they see what is happening. The sound of a raptor leaping on your face must be terrifying.
Imagine turning around and it's just, and there's just these two big feet, and it's
Nick, Ian, Sarah, and Kelly arrive a little later on and follow the path into the long grass. Nick finds AJ's bag. It has tear marks in it. Poor AJ. Ian starts to listen to some noise in the distance, then hears growling nearby.
go. As fast as you can, go.
The group start to sprint through the long grass. The group then fall down a trench that works remarkably like a natural hydro slide. The group have managed to find the quick way down the hill. They come to the skeletal remains of a large dinosaur. Reminds me of the elephant graveyard in The Lion King, and funnily enough, a scene in the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie. It's like dinosaur bones in one of those.
Is there?
In the Power Rangers movie, yeah.
There's too many of those now.
It's the very first
Oh,
one.
yeah, okay, no, that's fine.
Rest in peace, Jason David Frank.
Yeah, that wasn't that long ago, was it?
Wasn't, no. Ian has hurt his leg on the hydro slide. It wouldn't be a Jurassic Park film without Malcolm hurting his leg.
Only his leg, though. No facial scratches. Maybe a couple of nicks on the side of his face, on his eyebrow, but...
Didn't get his shirt like half ripped off and like lying seductively near the long grass.
Yeah.
Nick grabs the signal code and a torch and heads for the operations center. Nick opens the doors and makes his way into the operations center. I love the designs on the doors, almost like sideways rising sun patterns.
Yeah, it is too. It is a nice scene, actually.
Spared no expense. Nick comes across a beautiful Jurassic Park mural on the way. Has the visitors center from the first film, as well as some of the on-rail tour vehicles and giant T-Rex, which startles Nick.
Just reminds me of the jelly.
Yeah. When Lexi's shaking.
Yeah, because with the mural, that's not a mural.
And Timmy's like, what's wrong?
Oh, man.
Nick makes his way into another room and finds the power box. He turns it on, which lights up all the equipment in the room. Nick finds a radio and starts to send out a message. The Titanic is sinking. Please, SOS. Cut back to Ludlow, who is astonished to see that Roland has taken down one of the T-Rexes. He managed to sedate it. I want to be sedated.
I want to be sedated.
Cut to Ian, Sarah, and Kelly walking around the elephant graveyard. Ian's leg seems to be better now. Like he's walking fine again now. Later on, he runs. So.
Yeah, he does too. Nothing wrong with your legs.
Must have got Charlie horse or
Yeah,
something.
just got a bit numb.
Like my dad told me when I hurt my leg, just walk it off and you'll be fine.
Yep, and he did.
Turned out my leg was fractured in 2 places. Anyway, I'm sure Ian is fine. Ian and the team arrive at the exterior of the operations center.
Nick Van Owen!
I love how that pays off.
Yeah, definitely. It's gold.
A wee callback to when Nick was calling out for Syria.
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 Free Syria!
For Sarah earlier in the film. As they are walking, a raptor appears on the top of a vehicle and jumps at Sarah. The raptor latches onto Sarah's pack, which gives Sarah the chance to wriggle free and escape. Ian just shields Kelly and doesn't try to even save Sarah. His parental instincts, I guess.
Kind of.
More raptors show up. Sarah and Kelly go into a nearby building, while Ian bangs a stick to divert the raptors away from them. 2 raptors... So it says 2 raptors Gary and arguing into the door. Gary! 2 raptors are trying to make their way through the door of the building. while Ian gets pursued around a vehicle. Ian then runs into a nearby room with a large window. The raptor just smashes through the window, so Ian just goes out the door again.
Yeah. Oh, okay, cool, bye.
Ian eventually grabs the door as a shield and gets knocked out another window. Ian gets into the vehicle. I love how he hits the lock with his foot. It's like, nah, you ain't getting in here. Meanwhile, Sarah and Kelly watch from within the building as the raptors pound on the door. The raptors then start digging under the door. The raptor that is with Ian starts pushing its snout through the small hole in the vehicle window.
Yeah, it's so...
Trying to crack it.
It's just pushing itself like, oh, that would be terrifying.
Very, very terrifying. Sarah and Kelly start digging under a fence on the opposite side of the room they're in. I love how the raptor has blown up dirt with its snout as it tries to shove its face under the door. It's like...
That breathing, almost like trying to see where they are in there.
Yeah. Sarah looks under the fence in the hole they have just dug. Sarah tells Kelly to go. As Sarah's pushing Kelly under the fence, a raptor comes charging in. Great jump scare moment. Sarah and Kelly start climbing up the scaffolding in the room. Ian ditches the vehicle and runs towards the door to the room that Sarah and Kelly are in. Kelly and Sarah warn Ian that when he comes in through the door. Ian sees the raptor now halfway under the fence. Ian starts to climb as the raptors jump in. Then comes the moment that makes a lot of people cringe and laugh. Kelly uses her mad gymnastics skills to swing kick the raptor out the window.
The perfect wee turn around too, and then the back, and then she like holds it, and then she comes back down. It's just like, come on.
And into some jagged metal below, killing the raptor.
The school cut you from the team?
Kelly and Ian run out a nearby door, while Sarah makes her way to the roof. Sarah leaps from one rooftop to another, but uh-oh, this roof has shoddy tile work. When a raptor decides to join her on the roof, it looks like she might be done for. Sarah slips down almost off the roof. There's another raptor below her. Sarah starts throwing tiles at the raptor below. Take this and this.
Take this one and that one. 5. Boom. Pow.
As she grabs tiles, it shuffles the raptor on the roof towards her. Sarah decides to throw more and more tiles off as this causes the raptor to fly off the roof and hit the other raptor below. Sarah falls off too, but the two raptors are now having an argument and ignore Sarah to fight each other instead. Sarah runs away. The problem I have with this sequence is that it makes the raptors look pretty stupid, when in fact they're meant to be highly intelligent.
Yeah, not arguing between themselves. They would have coordinated that as pack animals and gone, yeah.
Yeah, it just made them look stupid. Ian, Sarah and Kelly head to the operations building and go up to Nick, who leads them to the helicopter. This again is all one shot, so when they're running up the stairs to Nick and running up the stairs up to the helicopter, all one shot. The helicopter flies away. You can see an engine sign on the front of the operations center. Engine, we make your future.
We make you feel crap.
Nick pulls out the bullets he stole from Roland's gun and drops them on the floor of the helicopter. The helicopter crew must be not impressed with this littering of their vehicles. Like, let's drop them on there. Another Indian team drops down into Ludlow's area. Ludlow says for them to find the infant T-Rex. Roland can show them where the nest is. He wants it taken to San Diego. Doesn't learn his lesson, does he? You then see the adult T-Rex, still sedated, and in some sort of transport frame. Roland is sitting next to the Rex. Roland, you probably saved Injun. We lost everything we came after this trip, but this animal and its infant are going to single-handedly bail us out.
Congratulations.
You've got your trophy, a buck only, but it's alive. And everyone on the planet is going to line up to appreciate it, everything you've done for us. What's the matter?
He didn't make it. AJ.
Oh, I'm sorry. Really, I am. You know, I remember the people who've helped me, Roland. There's a job for you at the park in San Diego if you want it.
No, thank you. I believe I've spent enough time in the company of death.
I love that line. Roland's arc in this is quite fascinating. From a man with high confidence and ambition to a man who understands that the losses that he's had and they're not worth it in the end. Sarah sees the sedated T-Rex from above the helicopter. Sarah opens the side door of the helicopter so Ian and Nick can also see it. Ian's face says it all. End of movie. Or at least where I believe the Lost World should have ended.
They shouldn't have done that whole, they shouldn't have done the city with the...
It's coming up though.
And what killed them on the boat? Can't have been the T-Rex. Had to be velociraptors or...
No, it was it had to be the T-Rex, but I don't understand how there was no signs of it.
And it got into the cabin room and just like strewn them to pieces?
Yeah, but I'm guessing the baby one must have got out.
Oh, it could have too. I didn't even think of that. Oh, it would have been. Yeah. Because at the very end when he teaches the baby to hunt.
But again, the baby's not on the boat because it's actually in the park already.
Yeah, it's already been taken.
So, I don't know. It's the one thing because the T-Rex would have smashed that boat apart to get half those people.
Oh, yeah.
And the boat
definitely.
wasn't smashed apart.
Nah, nothing was. It was just things were ripped, almost like that boat that went through the mist.
Doesn't make sense. The shot transitions from a helicopter flying over Isla Sorna to a helicopter flying over San Diego at night. Cut to an in-gen area of the San Diego docks. A crowd start making their way to the dock area. 15 years ago, John Hammond had a dream. Like John himself, the dream was grand. It was outsized. It was bold. It was impractical. It was not to be. But half an hour from now, John Hammond's dream, reimagined, will come true. For 1/100th of the cost of building a destination resort thousands of miles away. Cut to Ian and Sarah arriving at the ceremony on the docks. The security guard will not let them pass to go to the ceremony. Tonight we will christen Jurassic Park San Diego, a mega attraction that will drive turnstile numbers to rival any theme park in the world. Ludlow sees Ian and Sarah being refused entry in the distance. I want to thank each one of you for being intrepid enough to turn up in the wee small hours of the morning. Ludlow is notified while doing his speech that the ship has arrived. It's early. The man tells Ludlow that he better come and look now. Ludlow tells the guard to let Ian and Sarah in. He wants them to see him in his moment of glory. He said it just as everything went bad. It's like if you waited 5 minutes, then you would have gone, oh no, don't let them in.
Yeah.
Do not let them in. Ludlow is shown the ship in the computer, the Venture 5888, named after the ship in King Kong, the SS Venture.
It is too.
It's because Spielberg loves the original King Kong movie.
Maybe they put, is it almost the same boat with the same hold in it where they put King Kong?
Probably not, because it'd be more like state of the art.
Not as old.
But in the first movie, he has that line, what have they got in there? King Kong?
Oh my god, that's gold. I like that. I didn't
So, Spielberg,
actually pick up on any of that.
Yeah, he loves King Kong, the other movie. It's like him and Jackson had very similar kind of like growing up with the same kind of movies.
It was beauty that killed the beast.
The T-Rex city scene here is actually inspired by King Kong.
Yeah, I can see that when it comes. Yeah, definitely. That's cool.
The ship is coming at a very fast speed and nobody can reach them on board. Oh, it sounds like almost like Speed 2 Cruise Control, which is coming up in a few months.
Cruise ship season.
Ian and Sarah are let in and make their way to the crowds at the dock. There is a rumbling noise that the dock workers notice and start to stare out on the water. What's everyone looking at?
We should have stayed in the damn car.
Ludlow walks out of the comms room and looks out to see the SS Venture come steaming in right into the docks. The crowd run as the ship crashes into the port. Everyone regathers themselves. When Ludlow and the others get on the ship, they see no sign of the crew. When they get to the deck, they find bits of bodies lying around. There is even a hand still attached to the wheel. Where's the crew?
All over the place.
I like how he says that because he's actually like, all over the place.
Oh,
At the moment, yeah.
that'd be way better.
The cargo door is closed in on the ship, but it's also busted, showing signs of being rammed against. There is a hand attached to the cargo hold door controls. Man, T-Rexes don't like eating hands, do they? It's like hands everywhere.
It must be annoying. It'll be like getting like sinew stuck in
Or the
your teeth.
nails. Get the nails.
Yeah, it
Spray
would be
the
too.
nails.
Like, I'm not bothering with the bony hand. There's no meat on that.
No. Ludlow yells, check the cargo hold, as there may be crew down there. Ian yells for everyone to get off the boat, knowing that the Rexes must have been responsible. A stupid guard opens up the cargo doors. Ian runs at him to stop, but it's too late. The cargo hold doors start to open, but the T-Rex hasn't got time to wait and smashes them open.
Yeah, it's just sitting there. It's like it's just gone.
Hurry up!
Or it's just, I didn't even realise it's in there. It's just having a nap, and then it just sees a little bit of light, and it's just like, huh.
The Rex starts chasing some of the dock workers. Ludlow looks on in sheer horror. Malcolm appears next to him.
Now you're John Hammond.
Like,
And it's just such
he just comes into shot.
yeah.
It's just like his face just comes in. I'm like,
Just Ian Malcolm out of nowhere.
you're getting his personal space here, Ian.
The killing and the dying.
The Rex smashes through the customs signs and makes his way into town. The shot of the Rex roaring with the city behind him feels like something out of a B horror movie. It feels like Jason going to New York or something. Sarah asks why it wasn't sedated. One of the people responsible for sedating it said that Roland hit it with so much sedative that the Rex went into a coma. They had to give the Rex another shot to bring it back. Unfortunately, they brought the Rex all the way back.
Just gave it Narcon or something. It's just,
Sarah asks Ludlow where the infant is. Shocked Ludlow says it's safe. Sarah says how the Rex will look for a water source first, then it will look for other things its body needs. Food. They need to get the Rex back onto the docks and back in the cargo hold. They need to get the infant Rex to get the adult Rex to chase them. Sarah goes back to Ludlow. Where's the infant? It's in a secured facility. Why?
Where's the facility?
Cut to the Rex walking around the neighborhood in San Diego. The Rex finds a swimming pool and starts to drink.
Oh,
That poor dog. Cut to a kid sleeping with one of the coolest aquariums I've ever seen.
the coolest aquarium
So
ever.
cool,
But
yeah.
I don't know why he has his windows open, why his curtains open. Yeah,
So he can see the T-Rex, I guess.
yeah, true. So he can see his pool and his dog.
Because he doesn't care. The dog got eaten. I would be devastated. Because he takes photos. This is Con was like, your dog just died.
Yeah, so the dog house is hanging off, and then it just like drops off its face, and it's like, oh,
Yeah, I feel like I'd be terrified, but also so gutted.
go back to bed, stop your imagination.
The kid feels the rumblings of the Rex's footsteps. Kid gets out of bed and sees the T-Rex out his window. The kid then gets up and goes to his parents' room. He tells them that there are dinosaurs in the backyard.
As you would. If you saw a dinosaur.
Something
in
that
the
kids would
backyard.
say, so imagine.
Yeah.
The dog near the pool starts barking at the T-Rex. Poor doggy. Luckily this wasn't John Wick's house, or else that T-Rex would have been annihilated.
It just jumps on its back like Neo and just takes it to the Matrix.
Parents are arguing with one another as they go back to the kid's room, saying that the cool aquarium lights must be giving him nightmares. The parents look out the window and see the Rex with a dog chain in its mouth, with the dog house dangling. Cut to Ian and Sarah driving their flash red sports car right through the barricades at Jurassic Park San Diego facility. The park looks pretty cool here with its huge Jurassic Park gates.
That's awesome, yeah. So I wish they made an actual toy of that, like a Thunderbird Island of that.
The gate. I got the gates, but it would be cool to have the whole thing.
Yeah, the whole big, yeah.
Sarah and Ian grab the baby Rex. It's heavily sedated. They put the baby Rex in the car.
Hey, what do you think you're doing? Taking the kid. If you really want to stop us, shoot us.
Ian reverses out of the complex. How will we find the adult?
Just follow the screams. That's just such satire what he's doing. It's just like, well, how do you think, you know?
Cut to a lady screaming and reversing in her car. Panic ensues as the T-Rex chases people down the streets of San Diego. The Rex chews off a traffic light and even shoulder charges the side of a bus.
Yeah, it does too.
Bam!
Doesn't it go through Blockbuster or something?
It's just a video shop.
Oh, video shop, yeah.
The bus ends up crashing into a video rental shop. Remember those, man? There is a Robin Williams movie cardboard cutout of a fake movie called Jack and the Beanstalk. Because he did Jack, but never did Jack and the Beanstalk.
Yeah.
There are some Japanese businessmen running, I'm guessing as an homage to Godzilla.
That's exactly what I thought too, yeah. Godzilla! Turn around to point at it like, oh my god, it's real. It's just like, oh.
The guy who runs towards the shop door but gets grabbed and eaten is in fact the screenplay writer David Kipp,
That's well done.
who adapted the screenplays for Jurassic Park and Lost World. He also had a little bit of say about the Jurassic Park 3 when they were rewriting the script. He did like a simple treatment. He was the one that brought in the family element to it because they had a completely different script that they wrote during production.
See, I like the way they went about it because I feel like if they went any other way, Alan Grant would have never gone to that island.
The thing is, Alan Grant was always on the island, but they just completely threw out the script and decided to rewrite it during production. And David Kipp was one of the ones that helped them kind of like bring out the basis of the story, for better or worse. His death, though, sounds pretty cartoonish when he's like, Ian and Sarah come across the adult Rex. Sarah's trying to get the infant to make noises, but the baby Rex makes a small sound that the Rex hears. He knows. A giant 76 ball then rolls past their car. Ian reverses the car as the adult Rex chases. Sarah tells Ian to slow down a little.
I don't think so.
The infant is now almost fully awake. Ian makes himself a shortcut by smashing his car through some warehouses. Ian helps Sarah get the baby Rex out of the car. Where's the Rex? Is it still behind us? The Rex then smashes through behind them as they run through the baby Rex. Ludlow is on his phone near the wharf. He's ordering people to shoot the adult Rex. Shoot her! Shoot her! Sorry, it's a reference to the first movie. Ian and Sarah run past... Shoot her! Ian and Sarah run past them with the infant Rex. Ludlow follows as he wants the baby back alive. He still does not learn, and it's going to cost him his life.
Yeah, because then he gets taught how to hunt.
He does.
The first prey. He's like, go on then.
Ludlow sees Ian and Sarah running away from the cargo hold without the baby Rex. What have you done with it? I want that infant. Ian and Sarah jump off the side of the ship and into the water. Ludlow hears the infant Rex in the cargo hold and goes down to get it. He finds that the muzzle has been removed. As Ludlow bends down towards the infant, the T-Rex goes super ninja and sneaks in. How the heck can a T-Rex
Walks
not...
in behind him, you're just standing on his tippy toes.
We've been taught to learn in these movies that you hear, dumph, dumph.
And on a steel boat now.
Yeah.
Watch when you hear it just echoing through everything.
And the T-Rex sneaks in.
And the T-Rex is just like, it's probably just been lying on the ground the whole time, just pretending. It didn't even leave. Everyone was just freaking out of panic.
But, oh well. Movie. The baby runs past Ludlow into the adult Rex. Ludlow tries to run but gets his leg wounded by the adult. Ludlow tries to crawl away while the adult T-Rex encourages the baby Rex to make its first kill. Good riddance, Ludlow.
Get the bad man.
He deserves it.
Oh, 100%.
Sarah hits the adult Rex with a tranquilizer dart while the cargo doors get closed once again by Ian. What a shot that was. The helicopter above doesn't get a chance to shoot and kill it. Cut to a news story of the ship SS Venture heading back to Isla Sorna with the adult and baby Rex. This time there are security ships flanking it as well. Ian, Sarah and Kelly are watching this on TV. Well, Kelly is anyway. Sarah and Ian are asleep on the couch. It cuts to John Hammond on the TV. It's absolutely imperative that we work with the Costa Rican Department of Biological Preserves to establish a set of rules for the preservation and isolation of that island. These creatures require our absence to survive, not our help. And if we could only step aside and trust in nature, life will find a way. I hope Malcolm gets a nickel every time someone says that now, because he keeps using it.
Finds a way.
Cut to the two Rexes on Isla Sorna with a baby Rex, while other dinosaurs walk around, bringing life to the island. It ends with a pterodon landing on a branch. We'll see more of them in Jurassic Park 3.
They just go everywhere. One of them's just, I'll just follow the helicopter back to San Diego. That's fine.
But again, it makes no sense because they're in a bird cage at this current state of things. So oh well.
They are too. They're in a giant bird cage. Yeah, no, on the other island. They are too, because they haven't even made those
No,
yet.
it's the same island as the Sorna's in Jurassic Park 3.
Oh, it is. Oh, yeah, sorry. No, it is too. It's just like the decrepit version of it. Yeah, it is too.
Yeah. Oh well, movie, you know. Right, now that we've gone through the movie, let's go to our ratings for Lost World Jurassic Park.
Nobody does it, Bennett. Maha!
Right, so we've done our ratings now for Lost World Jurassic Park. Matt, so let's go through our ratings. For story, out of 5 stars, what have you given Lost World Jurassic Park?
I gave it a 2.
2?
Just like you, I hated the end. They didn't need to go into the city. They didn't need to have any of that whole thing. They could have stopped it from where it was, basically 15 minutes before any of that happened, and it would have still been good. And it annoyed me that there was just like all these dead bodies on the boat that I still cannot physically, mentally even understand how those happened. Unless they went through that mist cloud and they got eaten by Leopleurodons or compies jumped on board and then just went, oh, I'm going to jump off now. But yeah, 2.
Oh, that's fair. For me, I've given it a 3 out of 5. For some reasons, it's Jurassic Park story is amazing, the first one. And although when I first saw Jurassic Park and wanted the sequel, I wanted pretty much a sequel from Jurassic Park, like on as a new blur and what happened in the island afterwards. As I get older and older, and I know a lot of people don't like this movie. It's like dark and nothing like the first movie. But I've learned to appreciate it more. It has some great moments mixed in with some average moments. Like I think the story itself is just kind of, it's okay. It does the job. But there's some great moments like the caravan scene in the story. Some of the lines and dialogue I think are great. Although Malcolm's a little bit different in this one. I think he was better obviously in the first Jurassic Park. But he still has some really good lines.
Yeah, they still kept him on his ball. Yeah.
Yeah, so I give it 3 out of 5 because I don't think it's horrible, but yeah, it's definitely not as good as first. For acting, I've given it a 3 out of 5. I think Malcolm is good. I don't think he's as good as he is in Jurassic Park. I think Roland is the best thing in this. I think Roland's amazing. A lot of those are fine. He's just by numbers kind of bad guy. Hammond's not really in it much, so I don't really class him too much. Sarah's okay. Kelly's okay. Nick and Eddie are there, but they're fine. But there's no one that's like, in the first movie you had Alan Grant, you had Ian Malcolm, you had Ellie Sadler, you had John Hammond. Yeah, even what's his name who gets eaten by the Dilophosauruses? Nedry. You got Nedry. Samuel Jackson, hold on to your butts.
Yeah, hold on to your butt.
You had Muldoon. And then you also had the dinosaurs as well, which is great.
He did too, yeah. There was a lot more in the first one.
Yeah, and this one didn't have anyone apart from Roland that I thought kind of stood out. I think everyone else is kind of meh. Like, Malcolm's always fun.
Yeah.
But he's just not as fun as he is in the first movie. So I gave it 3 out of 5.
I gave it a 4 out of 5.
4, yeah.
Just because I do like the way that idiot, when he's frying the compy and he's just like kind of like maniacal, almost just like a bit of a dick. And then there was the hippie guy who was just so interested and so intrigued in the animals, and I like the play on the characters on those ones because he's like, oh, so excited and like, whoa. Yeah, Roland nailed it, absolutely nailed it. He was not only just, he wasn't just a dick, he was empathetic. He actually cared. Like, yeah, he went on all these hunting things and, you know, don't crap around and don't do this and don't do that, but he was still a bloody good character to me.
A lot more developed than everyone else was. But one thing I've got to say in the story too, of course, Matt, is I didn't like the San Diego part. For that alone, pretty much loses the whole point. Spielberg's openly admitted that he said, as a producer and stuff, it's probably something he wouldn't have done, but it was a childhood dream to see a dinosaur running through a city,
you know, in a backyard, in a suburban
city
area.
He did it purely for himself because he wanted to see it. And he's Steven Spielberg, you can do what you want.
Yeah, no, I agree to that. Yeah.
So that's why it's in there. But I don't think it should be. It should end when they go off the island. For how well it holds up, Matt, what have you given it?
I gave it a 5.
Go to 5?
Yep. I gave it a 5 based on... It does hold up well. Yeah, it's great. Even now, it holds up amazingly. And it came out, what did you say, 97? 97? The graphics on it are amazing, and so it's like, even the fact, like, they've just put so many small little details in it. Like, yeah, of course, the guy wouldn't just get crushed by that dinosaur because he got squished into mud. Like, just the small things, like the poisonous snake, like even the blood running in the river, like, everything works. Even the very start of it is just like, oh my god, that girl. You're like, whoa, and then it's still brought up later though by Hammond. Nothing's ever just kind of scrapped. Yeah. Which is what I like, yeah. And as you said, at the very start when Malcolm goes to the house, the kids are there because you have to see that the kids are alive. They're fine. Yeah.
I've given it a 4 out of 5. I think a lot of it does hold up very well. The practical effects hold up incredible. And a lot of the scenes, I think, are some great scenes in there. What doesn't hold up is, especially lately, like there's a couple of digital things that look kind of but it's not the reason I'm taking the point off. I would still give it a 5 for that. The reason why I'm taking a whole point off is there are a lot of things they change later on that kind of makes it moot. Like I said before, Jeff Goldblum's character completely reverts back to his first character in the first Jurassic Park, and it doesn't explain why. The pterodon is supposed to be in a birdcage.
Yeah, that doesn't make any
and
sense.
It's
now
not,
that you explain that to me, it's just like,
and it's not. So there's little threads like that don't explain later on. They kind of like just ignore it.
And the boat with the hand on it, like who killed those people?
What happened to how a T-Rex could not get in there, and the baby T-Rex wasn't on the ship?
Yeah, so that was my only logic, was baby T-Rex.
Did Jason, because Jason goes to New York, did he also go to San Diego in Friday the 13th part 12?
He might have. He must have. Must have just got on the boat and just started.
Yeah, so for how well it holds up for this one, I'm going to take a point off because it rewrites things later on and kind of makes a few things not make sense in this movie.
No, I agree to that, yeah.
For music, Matt, I've given it a 3 out of 5. The reason I've given it a 3 is it's still a John Williams score, so it's still great. Well, still really good. But compared to Jurassic Park, and this thing, you don't always compare to other movies because that's unfair. You feel about what you feel in the movie. But because this is a sequel, I'm comparing it to Jurassic Park. I hear Jurassic Park's score, and I hear this score. Always going to go Jurassic Park. Like, it's so much more, it's more memorable, it's just better for me.
Even the start of it, the end of it, it's all just more memorable music, and all the music's at certain times where it's just like, da-na-na.
Lost World's fine, but there's no memorable themes that I'll go back and go, wow, this is great. I'm going to listen to this just on its own. But Jurassic Park, I can listen to all day.
True, I didn't actually think of that.
So I give it 3 out of 5 just because it's a John Williams score, but it's definitely not one of his better ones. Yeah, so 3 out of 5 for me.
I gave it a 5 out of 5 based on all the, as you said before, the scenes where they properly use music. How he uses the music to me is so much better than just having a theme song for but like the way that, absolutely brilliant.
And again, like we did in the first Jurassic Park, the use of not using music as well. Like that caravan scene.
Just stops and you just hear all the scraping and the bare metal. That makes it more real, yeah. It would almost be like if you're scared, you feel your heartbeat. You hear your breath, and that's what the tent scene was like as well, when she's trying to hide those Hershey's. But yeah, it's a very and even the breathing under the door, the raptors, the face through the glass.
So this is why I like having 2 hosts, because we're looking at it from 2 different points of view as well, which I like. And you're right, the John Williams uses the score as in a way, like, I'm judging it because I like the score more, but a score is supposed to kind of set the emotion, set the tone, set the atmosphere of a movie. If it does that, then what else does it need to do?
Exactly, yeah.
So what you're saying is absolutely correct. So it's good to see that we've got 2 point of view for this as well. And yeah, I can't argue with the fact that if you go on those dimensions of the film, of the way he uses it, the placement, definitely would be a 5-star.
And this the low violins in the long grass scene. Dun, 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 dun. It's not even like a dun dun dun. It's just like oh crap, something's happening. Yeah, it's a whole different scene when that's happening, when they're going through the long grass, and it's just like plucking the violin. There's like 3 or 4 plucks of the violin when the raptors come in. That's it. And then it's just the rustling of the grass and him going, "Get out of the long grass," and then just hearing the people. It's
No, absolutely. John Williams, thank you, because apparently he's got one more score he's doing. That's Indiana Jones Dial of Destiny. And that's it. He's in his 90s.
Yeah, he would be too.
He was a fairly old man when he did Star Wars.
Danny Elfman's one of my favourite composers.
He's probably my favourite.
I didn't realise how old he was. He's almost 70s now.
Because he's been around since the 70s and 80s. Like
I first found him Nightmare Before Christmas. This is Halloween. This is Halloween. Dun, 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 dun.
He did my favorite score of anything. Like there's a lot of scores I love, but I love the Batman Returns score from start to finish.
He's amazing.
So good.
Yeah.
Right, so visuals, how good it looks. What have you given it?
I gave it a 5.
Go to 5?
Based on when I first saw the movie. There was a real person's hand hanging off that steering wheel. You know, that to me, it was just like when the first one, when she's like, oh, and she grabs what's his name's arm, and she's like, oh, like that arm looked fake. You could tell it looked fake, but that arm, that was just like, that's exactly what would happen. If the arm was bitten off, the hand would just stay like that. But yeah, just the way that the T-Rex also moved as well when it got shot with that dart. Yep. When it got shot with the dart and its skin rippled like it would. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, no, some beautiful shots in this movie. That is why I've also given it a 5 out of 5. That whole caravan scenes and stuff, like the one shot I talked about, the ropes, the glass, the caravan coming down, the scene of the T-Rex outside, the shots of like, even at the start with the little girl with the compies. I just love the shots. The scene when Dieter is getting attacked by the compies on the ground, they swarm him.
Yeah, they will just run straight at him, and then the camera kind of moves across behind the log. Yeah,
the rabbits in the grass coming towards the people.
Yeah, that was one of the coolest. Even when they're sitting in that tree and you watch the thing go, and it's like they have to jump out of the tree because that car's just.
The Lost World, I don't consider it a great film, but I think it has a lot of great moments.
Yeah, it's not a great film. No.
Like, I think it, compared to Jurassic Park especially, I still enjoy it, and I still think it's a lot of fun. I think it's for me, I think it's a good film. I'll still watch it. It's great moments with this kind of okay moments as well. It's inconsistent, especially towards the end.
It's almost like they can't. I don't want to say this, but almost like they kind of gave up on where they were going with it after. Right, we're going to get to the island. We're going to do this. Then we're going to get back on the boat and take it back. What are we going to do? Someone's just like, oh, kill all the crew. Yeah, and they'll be like, how are we going to do that? Oh, the T-Rex gets out. Oh, yeah, cool. And they write it down without any logical thought.
Every moment in Jurassic Park, I'm just like eyes wide open going, this is great. I watch every second. Sometimes in Lost World, you look at your phone and kind of go, yeah, this part's that's fine. Like when they're talking in the Jeep earlier on about Kelly being there, and even like just this moments in between, I just kind of go, yeah, time to look at my phone.
Yeah, it is. It's just a bit boring where they've just kind of filled in bits. Yeah.
Right, so let's go through our ratings, shall we? So for story, I gave it 3 and you gave it 2, Matt. For acting, I gave it 3 and you gave it 4. For how well it holds up, I gave it 4 and you gave it 5. For music, I gave it 3 and you gave it 5. And for visuals, how good it looks, I gave it 5 and you gave it 5. Gives us both a grand total. So I got 18 out of 25 possible stars. And you, Matt, have given it 21 out of 25 possible stars, which gives it 39 out of a possible 50 stars.
Actually, not too bad.
Pretty good. If we bring up the movie review rankings here. So with 39, it places it now in 15th equal with The Punisher from 2004. Which is roughly where I'd put it. Obviously, Jurassic Park we have on here as our number 1 movie. It's 50 stars. It can't be beat, only matched. With Spider-Man 2, 49 stars is second. Jumanji's in third with 47.5 stars. Titanic's in fourth with 47 stars. And Batman Mask of the Phantasm is in 5th place with 46.5 stars. And then we have all the way down here, 15th equal is The Punisher from 2004 and now The Lost World Jurassic Park. I think more intrigued about where it actually holds up on the worst of the worst with Jurassic Park 3, because I think it's pretty close.
It would be. I think it was like 36, wasn't it?
So Jurassic Park 3 got 33.
It is quite close, yeah.
I think Lost World's better, like definitely shot
Yeah,
better.
definitely.
Better than Jurassic Park 3, but they're pretty in close kind of neighborhoods for me. They're both movies I like to watch, but they're not a masterpiece like Jurassic Park is. So yeah, so it's in 2nd place behind Jurassic Park in the trilogy list. So it goes actually in order of Jurassic Park, then Lost World, then Jurassic Park 3. 39 stars for Lost World Jurassic Park. Not a bad wee score.
Pretty good, yeah.
If you like what you hear or have any suggestions for us or thoughts, who knows, it might be about the Lost World Jurassic Park. Well, you can contact us by going to the Nobody Does It Bennett Facebook page or by hitting us up on the Twitter at NobodyDIBennett. You can also email us at nobodydoesitbennett@outlook.com or by going to our website nobodydoesitbennett.buzzsprout.com. Nobody Does It Bennett is available on Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio and other podcast outlets. Nobody Does It Bennett is now also available on YouTube, so don't forget to like and subscribe. Matt, do you have any final thoughts about the Lost World Jurassic Park?
If anyone can tell me how those people died on the boat at the end of the movie, and no, it wasn't the T-Rex, and no, it wasn't the T-Rex baby.
Maybe it's a pterosaur. They're flying around.
True. Yeah, there's at least one anyway. But yeah, if you can tell me that, yep, there we go. But if not, then don't worry about it.
It's a good final thought. Let me know. The Lost World, although not as good as Jurassic Park, does have some really great moments mixed in with some okay story, like I said before. When I first saw this, I was hoping for something more like the first Jurassic Park, but as I get older, I have learned to appreciate this movie more and more. It definitely isn't Jurassic Park, but that's okay. There aren't many that are. Matt, thank you for joining me tonight.
Absolutely no problem, sir.
And for joining me for the whole complete trilogy now. We've done the Jurassic
we
Park
have
trilogy. Will I go into Jurassic World? Maybe one day.
One day.
But I'm not in a hurry because Jurassic Park, for me, the first trilogy is the one that holds the most for me.
Yeah, definitely.
The other ones are fine, but these ones, even the Jurassic Park 3 and Lost Worlds, like, you know, I could sit down and watch the trilogy anytime. I love them.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, definitely.
And thank you for listening. Remember, some others may do it better, but nobody does it Bennett. Take care.
It's the end of the show, and now it's time to go. Don't be sad, just be glad that nobody does it Bennett.